button, man. What the heck?
Hey everybody, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm your host, Dave.
And John.
I'm back. I'm JD.
And joining us this week, we have our good friend and person who likes to kill us.
I did enjoy it.
I'm for it, man.
Isn't it fun? I killed John numerous times, and it never gets old.
The creative mind behind Damage Inc., James Burton. How are you doing, sir?
I am doing absolutely lovely today. You guys might hear some noises. There's a storm going on outside, shaking my house. But
We're used to that.
But I'm still on a little bit of a high from all the stuff that's been going on with the book. Dude, John, I never thought until you asked me if I would kill you in the book that other people would ask me to also kill them.
It's some kind of thing. It's a fetish that nobody tapped into yet, except for JD.
Believe me, I've been tapping it for a long time. Oh, my uncomfortable joke for John for the week. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Started off early tonight.
Oh, and we do that around here, Dave. Don't push the button.
Always start on a high, guys.
So there's actually a great market, like for the Kickstarter, Kickstarter creators. There is a great market into working backers into the book, and because it's not just John. I've had numerous people back my projects in the past and been like, "Hey, can I die?" And it's become like it's a running gag between John and I, which I always appreciate because he pays for it. And like it's a great little way to boost up some extra funding for your book. And I'm happy that I was finally murdered in someone else's project. I'm just happy I was tall, to be honest with you. Your debt, sir, for making me tall.
But I only get to see this much of you guys, so I did my best.
It's fine. No, I have no qualm whatsoever. 5'9" real life me, very happy about this. Dude, very happy.
Dirk Manning.
I enjoyed drawing the spinning axe that hits John in the head a lot. Like I never tried to capture that kind of thing before.
I'm telling you,
there's snapping his neck back.
There's something so satisfying about killing John O'Grady. Like it never gets old. Like the next time you got a book, I recommend killing him again. It keeps getting
Wait. Is the satisfaction coming from when I die or from when you cash my check to make me die?
A little column A, a little column B, somewhere in the middle.
Oh my God. I'm an artist. I love both.
But you're saying like even Dirk Manning and oh God, I can't remember her name from Hope. Kaylin. Kaylin Smith. They had tears on their Kickstarter for working people either into the book or making them a hero or making them a villain. You know, it was like it's an untapped market, really. Because
it's a great idea. It's just that usually I don't have any pages saved. That's why, John, you and I had to work out that it was going to be in the book after that one, because I usually have the whole book done before I hit Kickstarter. This time I actually saved 4 pages and put it back up, and I had 2 other people ask me for it. So it was pretty awesome. I'm super happy.
Oh, and us people that like to die, we do pay out. So like those can be very very high tiers on the Kickstarter.
Yeah, they're decent tiers. I am pleasantly surprised and creatively fulfilled by killing people that I know in the comic. It's great.
Oh, it's the best. I said, John, I can't wait to kill you again. It's been too long.
It has been too long. You need to write another book.
Well, it's funny you should mention that. I'm not going to steal our friend's thunder, but maybe we'll talk a little bit more next week.
All right.
Well, so killing pleasantries aside.
Oh, we're just going to jump into the show normally now, like we know. Okay, I love that Dave's trying to get us back on the rails.
Yeah, I'm trying to steer a ship here. So we were off last week, but we're back. How's everyone doing? James, it's been a while since you've been on. I mean, we talk all the time, but how are things going with you? How's the Kickstarter going?
The Kickstarter is about 64%. Right now, we have a lot of. I'm getting a lot more backers than I did last time, which is exactly what I want to see. Actually, the more new readers, more new faces. In the long term, that's actually really great. I raised up a little bit more than what we asked for last time, so we're at about the same progress level that we were last time, but with more new faces. And I'm getting messages and questions, and a lot more interactivity between me and the people that are supporting the project. So I'm actually happy on all those different fronts all at the same time.
Cool. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. How about you, JD? How are you doing since we last spoke?
Well, last time we talked, or 2 weeks ago, I told you guys I was going to miss the show for my birthday, and I had an all right birthday. We got 6-day qualifiers the day before, so that was cool. Hung out with my little guy on the birthday. We went to the comic shop. I finally bought House of X Powers of 10. That trade. I'm finally going to buckle down and read that. I got some more Charles Soule Star Wars books that I'm behind on. So I spent my birthday collecting comics. And then last week we were at the state tournament down in Illinois, wrestling. The season part, the regular season's finally over. We did all right. We had a state place winner. We had one kid who was a match away. I was thinking we were going to do better, but you can't complain when you have kids that do perform well. So it went okay. It could have been better. It could have been worse. But on the whole, I'm very proud of the boys, and my video production kids. Actually, I got them working too, because they did this big jumbotron. They play with the finals that I created a long time ago. I don't do that anymore. But I actually got my kids working for the guys that do it. So like for a class project, I was both coach and a teacher for the week, and it was really awesome. I felt like a dad, right? Watching your kids like kind of pick up your sword and do the thing you used to do. So it was like I got a little misty as a teacher for the first time. So it was really cool seeing that. So on the whole, dude, I had a pretty good 2 weeks. I can't complain.
A little verklempt.
That was awesome.
I got a little verklempt. Not a lot of verklempt, but I got a little verklempt.
A little bit where you want to be. You don't want to be too much of a verklempt.
Right. So I took some Sudafed, cleared it right up. We're good.
There you go.
Now I'm wired. So yeah.
How about you, John? Do anything interesting since we last spoke?
I just read John's title. Senior Sony funeral director.
Yeah, I just came back 2 hours ago from seeing Madam Web.
Hey,
and do I need to say anything else? I really need to drink heavily after this. But, other than that, I also watched part 1 of Justice League Crisis, the new animated thing. Mm-hmm. Way better than I thought it would be. Way better. Ooh. Very, very well done, centering on the Flash, and, wow, way better than I thought it would be. So I can't, and there's going to be a part 2 and 3, so far as I know. And part 3, as we've talked before, the voice of Batman, Dave, what's his name?
Conroy.
Kevin Conroy. Sorry, brain. I came back from Madam Web. Did I mention that? No, Kevin Conroy's his voice is going to be in the third part. But I don't think they're going to be releasing that for another couple of months at least.
Right.
They have to release part 2 first.
So, when was the last time you read? When was the last time you read the original Crisis on Infinite Earths?
Oh God. So long ago.
Same.
I remember the big reveal being the main villain slash person who was bringing everybody together.
The Antimatter?
Not the Antimatter.
The Monitor?
The one that was actually surfing through all of the different realities for the Monitor. Pariah, yeah. So I remember that being a big reveal and all that, but like I have those episodes. I have those issues downstairs.
Issues.
Yeah, I know. I have those issues right next to my issues.
You sure do have some issues. Continue.
Yeah, but no, I have those issues. But I don't think I've read them in over 20 years, probably.
I was gonna say, how does it compare? Because I don't know. It's weird when you read stuff from the '80s. Sometimes I don't think it can age a little bit rough in some spots. Like just dialogue and stuff like that is different now. So I'm just wondering how you would compare the two. But
this was done much. I mean, you know what? Because that was in the 90s.
80s.
80s.
You probably read,
right.
You probably read
well,
it.
Yeah. Well, I remember that being one of my problems of, okay, Crisis. Yes. How many issues do I need this month to catch up on all the Crisis stuff? 13. What, are you kidding me? So, like, I don't know. I do remember my feelings about it, and it was done okay. I think this is a nice update, a really nice update, including a lot of story and a lot of personality of how the characters are seen today.
You said the Flash is the focal point character?
The Flash is the focal point, but it is done so well. Like, it's him. He keeps having time flashes because of what happened, and you're seeing him at different points of the story. Mm-hmm. And normally in like it's a trick that they use in some movies, and it's done. It's horrible because you can't follow the story. In this, it's done so well.
Sir, Christopher Nolan does that often in films, and usually it rules. But I'm with you.
He's one of the few I would grant that can do that and make it actually work as it should.
Yeah, the editing skill level to pull off a multi-bit storyline is not exactly what I would call a common skill.
Correct.
Yeah.
And seeing something like based on the Flash and his perception of time going through him like that, I haven't watched that, but now I'm super excited to, because I didn't know it was going to be based on that. But I don't even think like that was as easily done 20 years ago as it would be done now. There's so much lore now about the Flash and all of his temporal complexity that to draw from, to be able to make the perception of what he's going through, to be able to perform in Crisis. I think that's a good place for that storyline.
And this has a lot of heart built into this. This feels like the stuff that Bruce Timm did. Like, that's this awesome. Has so much heart to it. So yeah, and I'm surprised because like the animated movies have slowly been getting kind of more cash grabby and stuff. But this is a harken back to the best days of Bruce Timm, and it feels good. I mean, like, you really should watch it if you can.
I like the choice to center it around the Flash, because like when the original Crisis happens, the Flash character. So Barry Allen had gone. I don't know if you guys remember this. I'm gonna give you guys a little trip down memory lane. Barry Allen has this year-long storyline, this trial of the Flash thing, where
that's right.
Yeah, I forget who he was accused of. Oh, Reverse Flash. He was accused of killing Eobard Thawne. It's hard to say. And it turns out, it was a big Flash setup, but it just drags on and on and on. Now that'd be like a normal story playing off over the course of a year. But in the early 80s, people were like, oh my God, end this thing, kill me. Like, and then it ends, like, and that's the end of the Flash book. He goes off to the future with Iris, because they reveal Iris is actually from the future too. It's really weird. And they really bookend Barry Allen, and he's in the future. And then all of a sudden he's like inserted back in, because the original Crisis doesn't really have a touchstone character, with the exception of Pariah. Like, the story's really kind of told through Pariah's point of view, but it really makes for a hard read if you're looking for a good character piece. Like, it really is just kind of like a smorgasbord of like everything DC owns, and there's really not a lot of like character touchstones until you get to the last couple chapters where Supergirl and especially Flash die. So the choice, because if they keep it true to the true ending of the Crisis, centering the story around Barry, I think is a great adjustment. It really is going to make that ending land hard.
They've made some changes. The ending of part one does land hard. It makes you wonder where it's going to go, but you kind of feel good that the story is going to continue on a very high level.
Look, if they can get you even interested in a comic book film right now, that's a good thing.
Yeah, tell me. Yeah.
Struggling with that.
There are so many media projects that are basically just cashing in by people who don't belong even working with the subject matter because they don't understand it. So hearing that somebody got it and somebody took it forward, that's a positive.
Well, and I think, like, again, coming from an anime perspective, like in Japan, when you put out an animated movie, it could do just as well as any other regular live action movie, because they understand that the medium is just different, but the storytelling can be just as good. I think that in America, we're just starting to realize that, and the storylines that they're getting for some of these animated movies, even if they're not releasing them in the actual theaters, are getting to that point where maybe we can start seeing them in theaters and stop having to import them from Japan, and we can have our own.
Yeah, I was excited to see some of the My Hero stuff come out and end up where you could watch some of it, and the Ghibli stuff. I do all that stuff with my kids, so it's absolutely possible. It's just that it needs the right kind of attention, somebody behind it, instead of somebody just trying to throw it out at the wall and cash in on it.
Yeah.
And I said that last part completely ignoring Disney. And like anime movie, like How to Train Your Dragon, those sorts of things. Actually, I mean, there is that section, but they still see those as kids movies.
Kids movies, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though like stuff like How to Train Your Dragon is
kids movies like watching Hiccup watch his best friend kill his father on camera. Yeah,
right. Yeah, that's for kids, for the children. But anyway, go ahead, Dave. JD, what are you gonna say?
I don't remember. Nothing important.
Anyway, besides that, my car broke. My patio door started leaking, and I'm going to have to get my car towed tomorrow. And everything's breaking around me, and I have to get a new. My printer broke. I'm just like all that happened after I looked up at this guy and said, you know what, I just did my taxes. I'm feeling good. I'm gonna save some money this year. Don't ever tempt fate, damn it! Don't ever do that.
So what you're telling me is things are status quo at the O'Grady.
Yes, they are.
I can't finish this fucking sentence.
Yes, they are status quo. They are status quo, definitely. Yes.
Fucking had a joke.
Holy crow, they are status quo. Yes.
Oh my, hey Don, what the fuck is a printer? A printer is where. This is what I teach at school. A printer is a machine where you take paper. That's just these like strips of tree. Right? These little floppy strips of tree, and you successfully imprint, like you burn ink essentially onto the page, and it creates like either words or sometimes designs. And in my experience, it gets stuck constantly, and you constantly having to fish out the quote unquote printer jams or paper jams, if you will.
Yeah, mine just stopped printing, and it won't, and then you find out like it's a whole thing. Anyway,
the best way to learn about a printer is to watch Office Space.
Yeah, the greatest part. This is
better.
I know I'm going long on this, but the funniest part was I just got my car fixed on Friday. I didn't go anywhere yesterday, so I get into my car because me and my neighbor were going to go see Madam Web, and I had
you dragged some other poor soul to that.
No, we went thinking this is going to be another The Room or something. We were just going for laughs. But I get in my car to take it out of my garage, and like all of a sudden all the lights go on and off. The car's going and the check engine light comes on, and I'm like, and the engine's just like stuttering, and I'm like, somebody's trying to tell me something about this going to this movie.
Yes, still got there.
We went in his car. I was waiting for all the tires to pop on the way.
So I think it's not the universe telling you not to see Madam Web. I think it's your car telling you it needs to see a doctor.
Well, it just came from the dealership, so they're going to have to fix whatever the hell they did to it. So
fair.
Anyway, so I went long. Sorry.
So, I did mine already, but I want to know more about Madam Web. I want to know more about Madam Web because we're never going to see this movie.
That's what I just told Dave before you got on. It's like we're never going to get JD to see this movie.
No. I saw the trailer. Sydney Sweeney looks great as Spider-Woman. I'm good. I don't need to see that movie.
Though they were in costume for less than 30 seconds.
I have no interest in that movie now.
Costumes look great, and then
they did.
You find out the costumes are in it for 30 seconds, and you're done.
Yeah, no, I know it gets worse. It gets so much. You want to talk? Tell you what, we'll go through this, and do you want to talk about it after when we get to
social media madness? Let's just skip social media madness. I want to hear about John's misery of going to Madam Web.
Gave us a good answer here.
Okay, hold on. I'll read this. Kassan says a printer is an ancient device created in the Middle Ages that introduced mass creation of literary works to the populace. It increased literacy rates because it reduced book costs. Yeah, okay, this guy has to go ahead and give the real answer to that question, not the joke one.
But the sad thing is our literacy rates are going down now.
I don't think that's accurate because reading is more a fundamental part of society than it's ever been because everybody walks around with a phone.
the actual reading level from graduated students has been going down.
That's comprehension level.
Comprehension level, not literacy.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
Yeah.
True.
Whoa!
Oh,
James went down. James back.
James down. James
man down. Man
down
down.
goes James. Down goes James.
Yeah, okay. I got it. Dave, how was your week?
Oh. Okay. I can't complain. I did watch the Super Bowl. We can talk about more of that.
Did Taylor Swift win?
If you read the news, Taylor Swift was the only person that won.
Oh my god!
She got so much coverage off this thing.
If you read right wing media, yeah, she definitely won because they were definitely triggered.
Dude, anyway,
for 13,
she is the most powerful person in the free world, and if you argue with me, you're wrong.
She has got her for 45 seconds total.
54 seconds.
54 seconds. Sorry.
And she caused part of this country to melt down.
Yep.
Dude, can you imagine having that kind of power just to own people? She's like what Victor Von Doom wants to be.
Can you imagine being her and having to deal with that?
No,
that poor woman.
I really couldn't. Well, first of all, poor is not the word I would use to.
Well, I mean, yeah, but
anything about Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
but here's the thing. But she don't give a fuck. Like she's been doing this for so long. She's like, fuck them, and she's like good at it now. Like, can you imagine having that kind of power where you can just be like, you are like the buzzing of flies to Vigo.
It seems like I don't think any human being with her level of empathy can. I'm sure it bugs her. I'm sure I'm sure
it bugged ED her at one point, but she seems to be in the point where she really just doesn't care. Like I think that when you live under scrutiny for so long, at some point you're just like, fuck it. And she seems to have gotten to that fuck it phase of her career. She just does whatever she wants to do, and like it's always successful. Like I'm not a huge fan of the music because it's not for me. A lot of people struggle with that concept of what's for me. I like the kids and the girls specifically in my classes. God, they adore her.
Mm-hmm.
I just respect her as a business person and as a media mogul. Like it's incredible. Dave, how was your weekend?
Oh, wow. Okay. So
wait, more about Taylor Swift. No, okay.
So the Valentine's Day. So I did finish writing the song for my girlfriend and gave it to her for Valentine's Day. She really liked it. We'll leave it at that.
In your eyes, the light, the heat.
No.
It's funny. These boots were made for walking. Was it a tribute?
That was good, John.
The song's actually called Little Bit. And it's love you a little bit more each day, love you a little bit every single way.
Make sure you
damn, John, that's mean. That's laughing at the man's heart and soul.
And the reason that it's called that is when we first were dating, and when I first said that, she wasn't ready to say it yet. So she would say, "Oh, maybe a little bit." So that's where the inspiration of the song title came from. Yeah, so it's something personal between the two of us. But go ahead and laugh at my relationship, John. How's your girlfriend? Oh, wait.
I'm not laughing because
None of that was in English. Kassan says you guys are really milking the Taylor Swift algorithm boost.
Oh,
dude,
God.
we're gonna abuse that thing for life.
I gotta tell you,
did you see our numbers? Did you see our numbers last time?
Did you see just the clips where we mentioned Taylor Swift
through the roof
really well?
This is gonna be called Taylor Swift.
That's what I'm doing wrong with the Kickstarter. Jesus.
Everybody's let's
James, that's what you got to do. You got to put out some Taylor Swift, even if it's nothing to do with it. Just like hashtag her.
Let's
what happens. Yeah.
Let's just understand that the people that are freaking out about her are using that freaking out sometimes only because of the algorithm.
I will pay for you to kill Taylor Swift in a book.
That would be illegal.
No.
I don't think it's legal to say it that way.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't even be.
Put you on a watch list, sir.
Trademark her image. You can't.
I guarantee you, she's
trademarked her image. Yeah.
Trademarked.
I don't know about that.
You'd have to run like parody.
Yeah, it would be a parody.
Do you really want to call down that kind of thunder and get the not even from her lawyers, but get the Swifties mad at you?
No.
They'll nuke the show,
I
man.
will
You don't
say
want
this.
that.
I do understand that there's reasons to fear the Swifties, even more than to fear the evangelicals right now. Like, when you're doing Media Mafia, you gotta edge each one of their categories.
I for one welcome our Swifty overlords. That'll be a short.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past, like, she's telling everybody to sign up. They're all signing up to vote. Who do you think they're going to vote for?
Well, John, Dave, you're gonna have to push the button now.
Yeah. No.
What are you doing? We don't do that here.
I was saying,
Do not
given
speak
the
ill of
options, they would all vote for Taylor Swift, right?
That's true.
You-
If she decided to run, she could run for like.
She could literally
dictator.
probably go on there and just say, "Everybody, write in ballot."
And that would be it. Yeah, you're
Kassan-
absolutely right, James.
Kassan says, change the title of this episode to James Burton Considers Taylor Swift Comic. I am full of support.
Why does James?
Or why does James Swift?
That's even better.
That's even better because
I do
that's
like that.
beautiful.
I do like that. That's a good one.
I
That's
fear
why.
them out of respect.
That's why James. That's why Kassan is a writer. Good job. Sir.
Well, I was going to say to John, you. It's funny you said you have car issues. Like, we went out Wednesday for Valentine's Day. She drove. Everything was fine. Tuesday morning, she starts her car to go to work, and she said it was like sputtering and making all this crazy noise. And basically, her mechanic said there's an issue with the transmission, but her year Chrysler has a known issue with the transmission. So now she's got to take it to dealership. And it's funny because, like, trying to find a dealer that will answer the phone for an issue is, like, really hard.
Mine was at the dealership for an oil change, and now the car's broken. So,
Well,
but
that's
dealership.
different.
I mean, but if you take it to the dealership, there's probably a recall. She probably doesn't have to pay for any repairs.
Right, yeah.
So I remember in 2017, right around the time I started on the show, I brought my Kia in to the dealer for an oil change, and they wouldn't let me leave because they weren't allowed to let it roll off the lot because of a recall issue, and they were just going to impound the car, and I had to buy a new one. What a fucking racket that was! I called my wife. I'm like, "We need a new car." They won't let me leave.
Oh, this is turning into car talk from Click and Clack. I miss
Believe
those guys on NPR.
Believe me, this is not car talk that anybody would want to hear. So, like, it's really
Well,
Yeah,
that's
don't
fine.
take any car advice from us. That would be the
not,
last
not
thing
these
we'd want to
three
do.
guys.
I'm a car guy. There are 3 Harleys right over there.
Nice.
You, sure, not the three of us.
Yeah.
If we want to turn it into that, I can go.
You will,
Speaking
you
of
will
bad-
dominate the
In
conversation.
fact,
at
John
this
thinks it's black magic when you put gas in it and the car just goes, you know?
I put all my ability points into computers. Although, that's becoming more and more relevant with cars.
Oh, God.
Because now I can plug into an OBD2 port in a car and I can go to town. I could reprogram
I bet you could
the
plug
chip
into
on my
that OB.
on my car.
I bet you could plug into that port and go to town all night long.
You know what?
Yeah, no, like
I had
no.
to do something with that.
I think that means it is time for the inappropriate joke of the week.
I thought I did it already. Continue.
Third one.
All right. I got a couple here, but I'll take the top one I've got.
I'm only gonna list one with one ear, so
gonna
What's
get me
the
fired.
only
difference?
half the outrage.
What's the difference between a woman with PMS
Oh,
and a
Lord.
terrorist?
Oh God,
Okay.
And the terrorist.
danger, Will Robinson.
You can negotiate with a terrorist.
That's not even funny.
Why?
There it is.
Why do we do this to ourselves? Why?
Why do we do it? So that the algorithm will fight down the opposite direction.
Yes.
Anyway,
The opinions
No.
of Dave Markowski do not reflect the rest of superhero speak in any way.
John, wait,
No.
look at Hassan's comment.
too far, Kassan.
John
No,
goes, "Ooh, I ain't reading that."
no.
And they come
No.
after me.
No, too far, Kassan. No.
I don't need that smoke. Nope.
Hey, the algorithm's a double-edged sword, man.
Yes,
You gotta
it
be
is.
careful how you swing it.
Yep. Sooner or later, the algorithm will cut you down.
Yeah.
Speaking of algorithms, it's time for a little social media madness.
Woohoo!
Speaking of too far, okay.
Okay, so real quick, let's see. Let's start with we had talked about
Gatekeeping in the nerd community.
oh yeah, I forgot about that one. Do
Yeah.
I still have that open?
Maybe.
That was a good clip.
Yeah.
Did that last week, so I really
Yes.
liked that clip.
So yeah, because remember we
That's coming
were talking about fanboys and
Taylor Swift specifically, yes. That's what we were
You're gonna
talking
keep
about.
saying that?
That's
Well,
what
we
were
talked about
talking
Taylor
about,
Swift a
though.
lot, but we talked about gatekeeping, and then over on Twitter, Jamie had said
Who, Jamie?
no gatekeeping in the nerd. A new person,
Just
at
Jamie, not at.
at Digital Jamie,
Oh,
JAMI. No gatekeeping in the nerd community. No gatekeeping in football. No gatekeeping at all, unless you're keeping a zoo rhino away from the general public via a gate.
fair.
I thought that was cute. That's why I included it. Don't you remember? Yeah, we talked about. You don't remember? It was it was a long time ago to you, for you, JD.
2 weeks is a long time, man.
Yes. All right. Of course, we were off last week, but I did ask our audience who they were rooting for in the Super Bowl.
Taylor Swift.
I think I answered it that way.
Yeah.
I was going to say, over on, what is this, TikTok, 8-Bit Ray said, whoever Ray Finkel plays for.
They clean. It's a gag from Ace Ventura: Pet Detective.
Yes.
Oh,
never saw Ace
Dolphin
Ventura?
dude.
Yeah, you never saw Ace Ventura, John?
I did, but it's been a long time.
You don't remember Ray
Tetson,
Finkel? Wow.
I remember
Tetson
the
said
jokes.
San Francisco. On Facebook, good old Don said, I'm rooting for the Deadpool 3 trailer.
It was good. Don won.
And for on the Twitters, or X, formerly known as Twitter, Random Randy Savage said, "Go Taylor." So obviously he was rooting for Taylor Swift. So
do we have a new Colt 45 commercial while we're on the subject?
no, not this week.
Damn,
No,
Randy,
no.
come on, man.
Why
I look
does he
forward to
get
that
the
every
chance to
week.
Use the algorithm.
It's all you've got to look forward to.
Kinda.
It is funny as hell.
Damn, I just made Dave really mad. I was making a joke. Sorry.
What?
You
What
look
did
like. Is that all you're looking forward to? I said, yeah. And you looked at me like you were going to kill me.
No, I forgot. Then over on YouTube, we had Glisten Me 39. I don't know.
Whoa.
Said Kansas City Chiefs. If you pin this comment, I'll sub. I pinned it. I don't know if they followed.
That's not the kind of sub they meant.
User WKR8 said Chiefs.
Cincinnati. That's an old joke. Sorry. Stop.
Someone else said Chiefs, but this was a weird one. It's from at Hazel Bell. You made me mad and you made me cry. Is that like a Taylor Swift?
Probably one of her lyrics.
I would imagine that, because I was like, this makes no sense. This comment. So I imagine.
I don't know. You listen to our show. I can see someone having that reaction.
Really?
No.
Okay.
I was joking.
All right. Okay, then this week I did ask people the big news. What did they think of the Deadpool trailer?
Oh boy.
So, I guess before we really get into it,
Did anyone dislike it? Like, I'm curious.
hold on. Why am I not showing the comments here?
I don't know
there it
how
is.
you could not.
Yeah.
I don't dislike
Don
it,
said the trailer has me absolutely excited.
That's a Don response.
That should have.
That sounds like a Jim Jones.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's what I was gonna say.
Let's see. Over on Facebook, Drew said, "I don't think he'll be the Jesus, but I think the movie will be a lot of fun." Because he calls himself the MCU Jesus in the trailer. And then Random Randy Savage over on the Twitters said, "I've not been excited about Marvel content. It's just sometimes it's a drop and sometimes it's a gallon. But Deadpool will provide the outlet for all the old timers to get their rocks off."
Yeah, I think he's right.
Oh my goodness. And I don't know why the comments are not loading for
What a shame.
TikTok. What a shame. All right. So we'll end it there to put you out of your misery.
The Chinese government's not letting you read the comments. What a crying shame. Kazan says, I have vivid memories of that show, JD, and I watched it while living in the Cincinnati area. Like live? Like, that show got canceled or ended like when we were children. Like young children.
What show?
I think WKRP in Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, like early '80s.
Yeah.
I'm
Because that
old
also
enough
says
to remember watching it.
because that also says I actually saw many people who hated the reaction to the trailer. Really, they hated the people thought the reload scene was so well received when the Marvel's characters weren't well received. Well, I mean, let's be real. Like the Marvel's characters, there's a lot of baggage with that, and
Yeah.
Deadpool's got 2 very successful movies that are pretty much universally beloved. So,
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
yep,
and-
yep.
Ryan Reynolds.
No, I'm looking forward to seeing all the different cameos in it because I have faith that they're gonna web a bunch of stuff together that the goddamn studios have made pointless and crappy. I want to see him go back and fix the freaking X storylines, and all of a sudden we have mutants, and I want to see all the different stuff that the rumors have been laid about.
Too bad they
here.
can't web in any of the stuff from the Sony universe.
No, good thing they can't web in any of that stuff. We want to keep that stuff in its own web.
Yeah. I like the fact that we haven't really heard many, like, I know there's rumors, but we haven't heard any confirmation of anything.
Nope.
I would love it if I could go to that movie and be surprised by some of the cameos.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree, and I as somebody who just has loved comics for most of my life, I am just enjoying seeing something where I know that the people in charge of it are doing right by the subject material. I have faith in them. I don't have faith in anybody else making any other movies right now. Like,
Right.
none. Like,
All right.
oh, we're getting
Certainly
this
not
great
Sony.
director or whatever like that. Yeah, that's just an ego pump. I don't.
All right. I hold your thoughts on that for a minute.
All right.
So if you guys watching would like to be a part of Social Media Madness and have your comments included on the next episode,
Then go
don't
see
listen
your
to
psychologist.
JD. Listen to our good friend Don, who will tell you some more.
You enjoying the show? Do you want to be part of Social Media Madness? Easy peasy. Head on over to superheroespeak.com. You'll find all the links to our social media. You'll find the show uploaded there as well. Comic reviews by Chris. You can even go in the archives and find old comic reviews by yours truly. Absolutely. So again, that's superheroespeak.com. Make sure and check that out. Make sure to engage on our social media. Speaking of social media, Superhero Speak is part of the Geek World All-Star Podcast Network. That podcast network includes great shows like the Pop Prison Power Podcast, Colt 45, Fans on Patrol, the Gorilla Brain Podcast, the So Wizard Podcast, and Superhero Speak. That's right. You go to the X-Men app, I mean the X app, hashtag GW All-Stars, and you will not be disappointed. And you might as well do it before that app is dead. Well, listen, now it's time to go back to the show, and I'm going to be looking to see if JD makes a comment about sex or doing something to a woman's anatomy to see if John gets flustered or beat red, while at the same time speaking with confidence and zeal when he's talking about Pinkie Pie, Rainbow Dash, and the rest of the My Little Pony crew. Back to the show.
It was going so well till it wasn't. I'm convinced Don's trying to get me fired from my day job. So,
Wow. Wait a minute. If you want to get fired from your day job, let's take a quick commercial break.
that's a great segue.
And we'll be right back with the news.
Some podcasts are like this.
So I had this debate the other day in the car. So Helen Keller. So apparently someone said that she flew a plane.
Is that right?
Yeah. And I'm like,
Well, how does she fly
No.
a plane? How does she fly a plane if she's hiding in the closet? How does Helen Keller? What? What?
you were... Shut up. Shut up.
She got? Did she? I thought she get. Did she get free and then fly the plane?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
What is happening
I wish
right
there
now?
was like a live audience and I could ask them, does he even deserve me to continue? Oh my God. I'll give you one more chance. Helen Keller. What is she known for?
She wrote a book in the attic.
That's Anne Frank. Helen Keller's the woman that was blind and deaf. We're cut.
And some podcasts are like this.
DC Talk used to have this song that was like, we're just two honks and a Negro serving the Lord.
What? What? You lying? Hold on for a second. Hold on for a second.
Break it down.
When you really break it down,
we're just two honks and a Negro serving the Lord. We're just two honks and a Negro singing our song.
Bruh. See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
But only one podcast is where you can get in-depth analysis like this.
And murder them like they are getting like emulted, like they're being burned the fuck alive.
Yeah, they are literally turning to ash
It was Thanos snap. They're like,
but it was two butt cheeks instead.
Yeah, two butt cheeks of our Lord.
Thanos clapping.
So
you are now listening to Cult 45.
This is Beat 'em Down.
And I'm Random Randy Savage.
Find us on all your podcatching apps like Podbean or Spotify. And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Or just go to www.cult45podcast.com.
Also, check out our YouTube for that sweet, sweet video content.
Cult 45, the only podcast that puts hair on your chest.
You know, that's just... There's just such differences between the American and the Japanese cultures that we often appreciate. And then there's times where I see something and I go, yeah, that wouldn't fly here. It just wouldn't fly here. Can you imagine the uproar that would go out across this country from like the Beltway states specifically if they made a film where the fart of God was killing people? Could you imagine?
I don't know. They were pretty okay with two honks and a Negro.
Yeah, says a lot about where we are as a country, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So I'm watching you guys as that commercial's playing, and James had never saw it before. So seeing his reaction to Colt 45's commercial, that's the best.
Okay, look, I love the Colt 45 commercials. They're funny. They are funny, and I do enjoy them. But sometimes I feel like my IQ went down.
Oh, every week.
Every week.
Yeah.
I don't know how he finds these.
He has to have either he has some special mutation, or he has an AI program run to find the dumbest podcasts ever.
I think Randy,
an AI program that's having depression at this point.
I just think Randy is this committed to the bit where he is just. I think it's literally his algorithm that shows up in his TikTok and stuff like that. I could be wrong.
Oh, I'm sure.
Correct me. But he finds the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet and allows them to be part of our show. And quite frankly, it makes me feel better about myself every week.
The questions about the Helen Keller guy. There's
That's not the first time he's used that podcast, and that guy also didn't believe in evaporation.
Mm-hmm. He thought evaporation was a conspiracy. This dude is dumb.
He's like, "Where's the water go when it rains?" Yeah.
True story.
We did get some more comments. So this was
yes.
Yes.
Don's right. Liev Schreiber as back as Sabretooth would be awesome because that's good casting in a bad movie.
Yes.
Yeah. That there was a lot of great casting in the first X-Men movies.
Why are you guys not allowing Don to come on this show? It's a felony to get him on. We used to have Don on all the time. Don's busy. He doesn't want to come on the show anymore or something.
He's welcome anytime.
Dave's the editor and plays it. I just made it. Yeah, I'm aware, Don. I'm aware of how that goes. Don says, so Dave is prohibiting you from joining the show. What the heck, Dave? I don't think Dave's prohibiting him. Don, I just don't think Don wants to be on the show. I mean, as a co-host, we've often said Don should be on the show, but Don's got Don stuff. I appreciate the vote of confidence. Dave's got a great guest this week. Well, that's true. James is quite awesome.
That's a huge compliment.
Kazan says, yeah, this week, but get your ass back here next week. I feel like we're being replaced, John.
Sounds more like Donna Kazan need to go run it.
Kazan says James needs a reset, maybe. I can't speak to James. It was a joke.
Okay. Actually, Don asked me 2 days ago if he could come on because he wanted to talk about the X-Men trailer and the Deadpool trailer, and I was like, we already have a guest. So
I want to get down on to talk about X-Men 97 when that thing drops.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
You know, I haven't even seen that. But
it's
I
pretty good.
haven't. Somehow I have missed it.
The trailer
I
looks
haven't.
pretty good. We'll talk about it in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
But getting back to the Deadpool one, which is where we were before the commercial break.
Yes, let's talk about that Deadpool trailer a little bit. I mean, obviously it looks like a Deadpool movie.
I think he's jumping in and out of Wolverine's life, though.
Could be.
Like, there was a scene where I thought I saw Hugh Jackman in the Barry Windsor outfits for Weapon X. And
that'd be kind of cool.
I saw him pull off the goggles.
Here's the thing I found most fascinating. Since that trailer's come out, there's been like 100 at least videos breaking it down on YouTube, and everyone talking about this and that. And one of the things I love is, like, let's take the scene. Okay, so they're in the TVA, and he's looking at those monitors, and they're showing clips from different Marvel movies, MCU movies, right? And he makes the joke about being the MCU Jesus. However, is Marvel not known for, like, putting fake stuff in trailers? That might not be what he's actually looking at in that scene in the movie. Because that's all green screen stuff.
Even more credit if he released the very first goddamn trailer, and it was freaking Deadpool literally trolling everyone. That's beautiful. That is so Deadpool. That is.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and he may actually be Marvel Jesus, because if they use this movie to reset everything in conjunction with Secret Wars, and then right the ship and start going in a single direction again instead of all this scattershot stuff, then that would mean that Ryan Reynolds saved a multi-billion-dollar industry.
I still don't think that this is the real. That they're using this as like a crisis moment. I don't think that's going to happen. Like, that's just not what Marvel does. They're going to use this as a chance to rewrite the ship, I think, to get things going in an even direction again. But I don't think they're going to reset anything. I don't see that happening. That's a hard concept for armies to grasp.
I would love it if like 90% of that trailer was a fake out.
That'd be great.
That would be so awesome.
It would be great, but let's be really serious. It would be great because it's Deadpool.
Right.
If it was
that's why it
else,
works.
I'd be pissed.
Anybody else they do it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but with Deadpool it works. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And if it isn't, and let's just say everything that we saw was part of it, and it was a reset just to the X movies, I'm perfectly okay with that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, like because I trust the filmmakers involved, because they've done so much with so little in the past, I want to see what they're doing now when they got stuff. And the fact that he literally got to work the word pegging into a Disney commercial is also beautiful.
First time ever.
According to him, but it's the first time for Disney Plus.
Son asked if we saw the controversy about X-Men 97. I did not. There's controversy about X-Men 97. I'll be talking about it on my channel soon. Oh, Don, I assume he's talking about X-Men 97. I do want to get him on though to talk about this. I think he's the perfect guy to talk X-Men with. What's he talk? What's Kassan talking about? I'm sure he'll tell me in a second. But what controversy? Oh, John says I had a comment on my last video that Deadpool was woke trash. Shaking my head. The X-Men universe being attacked by anti-woke internet commentators. Shaking my head. It's weird to call the X-Men woke, and it's like, yeah, they're the X-Men.
Been woke weird to call Deadpool woke.
They've been woke since the beginning. That whole point.
Morph. Oh, Morph. I did see that.
Who cares?
He's a shapeshifter. Aren't all shapeshifters by nature non-binary?
Yeah, like I don't even understand how some of those X-Men characters you could even assign a sex to. Like
Goop.
Well, is it Morph? What was is Morph the name of the dude that was like all digital?
No, that's Warlock. Morph was the cartoon character that would like literally. Because morphing was a big term in the 80s and the 90s, early 90s, where like you change shape. That's what they called him. He was the character that was created specifically for the X-Men 92 show, who dies in like the 3rd episode.
Okay, I remember him. But dude, there's what? Oh, for the love of God!
Oh my God, that one I hadn't heard. I heard about the non-binary thing with Morph, but
Rogue was a freaking kid when her storyline started. She only became like that after Jim Lee started drawing them in the freaking
Well,
in the
that's
Lost
true.
Lands or
Yeah.
whatever.
Jim Lee's got a type. The fact that there are people that are complaining about a non-shapely cartoon character
Yeah.
is ridiculous.
Yeah.
You fucking nerds. Hassan says, I'd actually like to hear your comments about that. I understand the change to morph can be accounted for. But what do you think about how the original character wasn't non-binary? I think here's the thing. We didn't have that term non-binary, but by its name, but by the nature of a shapeshifter, they have no
gender.
No gender of itself. Let's take Mystique.
They can change their gender at will.
At
in
will.
all honesty.
So
So they are technically non-binary. It makes sense.
And we didn't have that term in the early 90s. Like, they just didn't. But that term perfectly describes shapeshifter. Like, let's take Mystique, for example. Most of the time, she's transforming into dudes. And most of her escapades of the sexual nature are with other women. So, I mean, like, I don't understand why that's a thing. I mean, like, with a shapeshifter specifically, I think that's easy to say, of course you're non-binary. You could be whatever you want to be when you want to be it. Like, I don't get why that's a problem.
Wow, we got we got derailed from Deadpool really fast.
What we do. That's what we do. Let's talk about X-Men 97 while we're here, I guess.
Did you watch the trailer?
I did.
James, it was in the email I sent. I clicked link.
Don't worry if you don't read the show notes, James. Neither John or I do either.
No, I read the.
Please don't admit that on air.
John,
I actually just made assumptions.
I watched
most
all.
of it I'd already seen, and then I just, for some reason, just glossed over that. I'm not gonna lie.
Basically, it picks up where the show left off, and Professor Xavier dies.
Yeah, he died in the last week.
And died in the original show. So now it's Scott. Right, but now it's Scott trying to keep the X-Men together. Basically, is what the premise it looks like. So,
and Jean's pregnant.
Is it Wolverines or is it Cyclopses?
I don't think they're going that route. I'm pretty sure it's Cyclopses. The question is really who's the baby?
Oh, wait.
Who is
the most powerful mutant? Right?
No. Hope is not Jean Grey's daughter. It could be. What's the thing
No,
is,
it'll end up being Cable and them sending him into
it's
the.
not
That's
Cable.
right.
Well, it's not Cable. Madeline Pryor is Cable's mother, so it could be Cable. It could be Nate Gray, the X-Man. It could be Rachel Summers, the second Phoenix. Like, I think you could have a nice little mystery on your hands.
In X-Men 97, didn't they already do the Phoenix, their version of the Phoenix?
They
story?
did do the Dark Phoenix saga.
Yeah. So then this may not even actually be Jean.
It might not be Jean.
Oh, that's right. Oh.
Could be. It's the X-Men. Could be anything. Don's pretty sure.
Dude, that is such a complicated storyline. There's no point in trying to figure out who it is.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Too many options, and the options are hidden.
Yeah.
There's no point. There's no way to guess who that kid is.
Don says the kid's gonna be Nathan Summers, who would be Cable. So it's possible.
It might be him just to connect to more of the Wolverine stuff. Or more of the Deadpool stuff.
Well, they had Cable
I'm
in
not
the
going to
show,
read it,
so
he's
it could
right.
be.
But I'm not going to read it. We're going to move past that. Yeah, I'm curious. I think the show looks really good. I think they're picking up where I like the animation that it's close enough to the original without being as cheap and shoddy looking as the original was.
But one of the things I found interesting in the description is they said that it'll be a lighter version of Morph, but they are going to touch on the stuff from the show, the original show, where he died, but he came back.
He does come back.
Was it Apocalypse? He was brought him back.
I think it was Apocalypse.
Yeah. So then he worked for him, and then at the end he turned and helped them defeat Apocalypse, and it was just like he had a really dark storyline in that cartoon. Now they're going to give us a later version.
Well, probably because they just don't want to
do a bunch of different dark stuff inside of there, and you did use characters that weren't part of the comic to do it.
Yeah,
but that's not a bad choice considering the stories they were trying to tell.
Right.
Like Leech, for example, but all the crap that went on with that character, like it would have been much harder to pull that character off if they'd have grabbed somebody else. Like he betrayed them and did all kinds of crap. It made it a lot easier to write the original story and at least keep to the spirit of what was going on. And a lot of people loved it. And I don't know anybody in like my sphere who had a bunch of shit to talk about the original X-Men stories, because they were really well done, even though the animation was herky jerky.
Yeah, it's animated on the 3s or something.
Yeah, the animation sucks, but the new one looks good. Don says Gambit kinetically charging Wolverine's claws. Oh boy, yeah, I saw that too and went, I've never seen that before. That's
pretty cool.
fucking awesome.
Yeah,
so I'm kind of pumped to see that. That's going to be cool. The original Exiles run.
Yeah, that's what he said. Morph looks like the Morph from the original Exiles run. Wait, yeah. So he's obviously excited about it.
Well, what'd you think, Dave?
No, I thought Morph looked like oh my god, why can't I think of his name? The Spider-Man villain
the Chameleon.
The Chameleon.
Yeah,
like the way
that's kind of what he looks like.
Yeah.
He did. He looked a lot like him.
So
no,
I think it looks good. I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to watch it. I got a soft spot for that show big time. I loved X-Men 92. Like I was like the perfect age. Like I was about 12, so I was reading the comics and I knew the backstories and seeing them play out in cartoon form. Like it was like right age, right place, right time. I loved it. I'm excited to see this new one.
It was good. I was watching it the whole time, but it also didn't it come on at the same time as Batman Animated?
It did, and that's what hurt it.
Yeah, I was watching that. I'm a huge Bruce Timm fan. I was watching that and just like trying to go back and forth during the commercials. I think getting pissed off and missing bits and pieces of those shows.
When I was fortunately where I live
is my jam from back then.
What kid these days understands that kind of dilemma? Because these days you just either record it or
it's at your fingertips, man. My kid, we were at the hotel yesterday downstate, and I said, "You want to watch TV?" And he goes, "Why? I can't pick what I want." And I was like, "He's right. He gets to watch whatever he wants to, whenever he wants to." Great. Kassan says another subject. Does a lighter story say something about the emotional maturity of today's audience versus us watching in the 90s? No, I don't think that's what they're going at. I think they sing by a lighter tone. They're just not going to reflect on his story. I think Morph's just going to be more of a character on the periphery, more so than someone who, because like at this series, you only get a handful. You only get a handful of stories. So I think that's what it'd be more like.
I remember this. Pizza Hut had the VHS tapes.
It did.
Yeah, just to go with something Kassan said, I think that the audience's maturity level hasn't really changed. I think that some of the shows are starting to realize that you don't have to assume we're idiots. Like there were some really good shows on a long time ago that people still recognize now as being very deep. And catering to adults and children, and they I don't know. It's just they're starting to recognize it now, and they're starting to program to that.
I think there's two sides to this. I do think kids are their parents are more protective of them today than like our generation. I mean,
definitely.
I mean,
the internet.
I'm sure we were all latchkey. That's the word. Latchkey kids at some point. But that being said, they're also exposed to a lot more all the time now because of the internet. So it's like it's a two-edged sword. So I don't. It's like that's too complicated of a question about maturity.
It's kids may be aware of more situations, but I wouldn't say that they've been confronted with more situations.
Yeah.
When you are one of those kids and you have to deal with things like getting chased down the street by gangbangers pissed off at you because you moved a key of drugs underneath one of the cars they left it underneath, and trying to get back to your house because there's a bigger drug dealer at your house. That's actually something that happened to me.
Oh, so that was oddly specific, James.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I'm not going to hear that story, though, from like my kids. My wife doesn't let them out of the house without watching them. It is a different world because those of us who survived through the 90s and the 80s where there was no guidance.
Yeah.
Where it was normal for your parents not to give a shit about where you were, whether they were home or not.
It was such a problem. They had commercials at night.
Yes.
10 o'clock at night. Do you know where your kids are?
Yep.
And a lot of parents were like, fuck, I don't. Where the hell is Tommy? Like, that doesn't happen today. At the same time, as a parent, I got a young son now. When I was his age, my parents let me watch RoboCop. I couldn't imagine letting my 7-year-old watch RoboCop.
Right.
Yeah, I think
my wife would divorce me. Yeah. My wife would bounce me to the curb tomorrow if I said, "Yeah, I let our kid watch RoboCop." 70,000 people die. Guy gets dipped in toxic waste and comes out going. Yeah.
That was the coolest scene back then.
It really was, but at the same time, I'm kind of fucked up. I don't need my kid to be like me.
We were actually. It's funny. Continuing on this non sequitur. Last night,
nice word
we were watching TV. My girlfriend and I, and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory was on.
Oh, I love that movie.
And the boat scene came on.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We're watching it, but we were like, when we were kids, this was considered one of the creepiest scenes ever.
Yep,
And
still
now it's
is.
It is, but it's not compared to some of the stuff that's out there now.
Dave, I disagree with you on this one. We showed it to Andy maybe 2 months ago because we always watch. He loves movie night. We sit down and watch older movies.
Okay.
And we watched Willy Wonka, and he got freaked out during the boat scene. He was uncomfortable. He's like, "Dad, this is scary." I said, "I know. Strap in."
I guess it's being an adult looking back on
Yeah,
it. Like,
it's a child. You're not looking at it through a child's eyes. Children,
Right.
Especially Wonka. The Wonka movie itself is such a mind fuck because Gene Wilder's playing him like a sociopath the whole time. Right? You never know what angle he's going with the whole
Which was
time.
perfect.
It's perfect. Oh no,
I
it's genius
tell my
performance.
kids to love that movie. They fall asleep before that Imagination song comes on. Even now, it's one of their favorite. Let's all settle down and watch something that they think is amazing. They were just as furious as I was when they tried to reboot it, and they rebooted it with Johnny Depp. And the movie was so different than the original. They were furious.
The funny thing is, because I have very strong memories from when I was little. My sister read me the book, and
the book is closer to Depp.
Yes, the book is a lot closer to the Depp version than the Willy Wonka movie. But I love the movie, the original movie, so much.
I think it's because everybody could. The way they did Charlie in the original movie, they spent more time on him. They spent more time on his background, and his background made sense. I think all of us who were either lonely kids or the kid that grew up with no money, think about how much that movie is filmed from Charlie's point of view. It begins with him looking inside that candy store. There's no candy store in the world where somebody's throwing candy out all over the place to every child that's in there. But when you were the poor ass kids who has holes in your shoes and you're trying to get a paper route to buy bread, dude, you look in the store and you see those kids buying candy. That's the shit that's in your head, man.
Yep.
That's why that movie works. It's so relatable. And it's funny it's called Willy Wonka and not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because it's so Charlie's. It's way more Charlie's story than Wonka's story.
Absolutely was around Charlie's point of view.
Yeah.
And I've seen this pointed out a few times, and I couldn't help but think about it while we were watching it last night. When the boat comes, there's not enough seats for if Gus just didn't fall in the there's only enough seats for the people alive, and when they get to the car, there's only enough seats for the 2 kids and the 2 parents that are left. He knew.
I don't think that was on purpose. I think that was budget restrictions.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Sometimes it works out. Wonka's got a little bit of saw in him, a little bit of jigsaw in him.
A little bit, yeah.
That's part of the charm of children's stories, and I think we've tried to dull the edge on good children's stories over the years because there's an element of danger that kids like kids dig that, and I think that too often we as parents try to smooth all the edges over, and it leaves the stories not as dangerous as they are. A good fairy tale has an edge to it. Even those original Disney movies are kind of fucked up. At every point, you go back and watch those Sleeping Beauty or something like that, and you're like, oh yeah, this is it's kind of messed up.
The importance of what the heroes do and what the heroes go through against the darker villains matter less when the villains are pansy asses.
Correct.
Yeah.
The darker that villain is, like the Horned King in the Black Cauldron. It's a fucking lich. Okay? And I showed my kids that and read the book to them when they were really little. The Horned King is a scary movie. He is scary.
And that's the problem with Dark Cauldron. Dark Cauldron might have pushed it too far, but I always loved it. I remember being a little kid and going to the movie to see the Dark Cauldron and the Black Cauldron, excuse me. And Disney has done such a job of distancing themselves from it that I think it's a shame because I think it's a movie that's aged pretty good. It aims really high and doesn't quite hit all the marks on it, But like the Horn King is a great villain, and you need a villain with teeth. And I think that's the problem with a lot of these movies now is the villains don't have teeth. They're not scary enough, you know?
That movie did almost bankrupt Disney, though.
It did almost bankrupt because it's not as much as I like it, it's flawed, right?
Yeah.
And it really suffers a lot from the studio being in chaos at the time. Right, because Disney Studios isn't bad.
Really close to the book. I don't know if you guys have read it, but the whole
I've never read it. Black Hawk. God, I keep saying
Farmer. All of that stuff is straight out of the book. That thing is almost a straight translation.
Kassan says it's true. It's true, JD. That's why anime is taking over media for kids. They don't avoid darker subjects. My Hero Academia is a good example. They want more dilemmas. I agree. I teach high school kids. I see tons of manga on the desks and stuff like that all the time. One of my students walked in with the Gunslinger, and I had a tear in my eye. I'm like,
oh, wow.
I said, this is the worst book in the series. If you can get through this one, the rest of them are great. He's like, really? It's kind of slow. I said, it's really slow. Just get through this one. Trust me on this.
Yeah, only get to episode 37 in One Piece. Then it's great.
That's a chore, man. I don't know how you are committed. It's like getting tattooed.
So is the first Gunslinger book. I mean,
oh, it is. Yeah, you're not wrong. It's a slog.
All right. Let's get back to Deadpool a little bit.
Oh my God, we're still talking about Deadpool?
Well, no, I mean, we have a lot more to cover.
I didn't even really finish talking about Deadpool, though.
Go for it.
So here's one of the things I wanted to say, and this is just about in general. One of the things that really ticked me off watching the Super Bowl, there was like a little quick 2-second thing that came on where it was like, Deadpool trailer, now go online and watch it. It was like, why don't you just show it? I'm already watching this. Like, you're directing me to leave watching the game and go online and watch this.
Dave, they paid a lot of money, but they can show you a whole trailer. Like, do you know how much money if they showed a full 2-minute trailer it would cost them? That's 4 spots in the Super Bowl.
But it's Disney. They can afford it.
Yeah, but that trailer has a million views now.
I know, man.
It is the 350 million in the first 24 hours.
Most watched trailer in the history of YouTube. Right.
Yeah.
So they're right, and they only had to pay for 1/4 of a commercial to get you to watch it. So the bean counters at Disney are never wrong. 7 million a spot. So thank you, son. 7 million. So seven times 4 is 28. So you're talking about $28 million when I can just spend 1/4 of that to make you go to YouTube and get you not watching everybody else's commercials.
And here's the thing. I think the other reason they do that is so they can really gauge interest. They can see how many people run to watch it. Yeah,
because that's instant feedback that you don't get immedially with Neil. I think at Super Bowl. I think the Super Bowl had like a 3.7 rating or 37.0 rating, which is just mind-boggling today. Really, that story is so depressing. Don says, Don, I don't even know what you're talking about, man.
Yeah,
Dave's clicking these things up. We're like, oh, Black Cauldron. Oh, okay. I like the Black Cauldron. Berserk has a fanatic following in high school.
Maybe that's what he's talking about. I missed that comment.
Anyways, yeah. So but it worked though. So they got people. Not only did they get you to turn on YouTube during the Super Bowl, they also took attention away from the following 3 spots. That's money. That is money well spent on Disney's part.
True.
Dave's being the old man yelling at the cloud.
Yes, I am. I'm being the old man because I wanted to just sit there and watch it. I didn't want to click away and go somewhere else.
Really, was the Super Bowl that good?
It actually was. It's the second Super Bowl ever to go into overtime.
That's pretty good.
So, I mean, yeah, it was a good game. It was a good even match between the two of them.
The first comeback from that far back or something?
No. There's been bigger ones. Fucking Tom Brady. But, like, it's been...
yeah. I was about to say, I think the comeback against the Eagles from the Patriots was one of the biggest comebacks in Super Bowl.
I think the Falcons, too.
Doesn't count if you cheat.
Because that also says the trailer for Deadpool made Disney 350 million views, generates tons of ads. Yeah, I mean, like Disney's not.
Yeah, that was at least $4.
Yeah, Disney. Well, it's different for Disney making money on YouTube than it is for like us. So they're They're fine. They're fine. They made money. They promoted their movie. We're all gonna go see it and talk about it. So
they made $4. There you go. I like that.
There's no money in YouTube.
The only other thing I found interesting was the only other major character they really decided to show, other than the ones that we've already seen before in the beginning birthday party scene, was Pyro. Other than that, like, they didn't
Pyro
show
was in it,
anyone.
So was Teenage Negasonic. What the
Right,
Teenage
but,
Negasonic Warhead.
but we've already seen her in other Deadpool movies. So Pyro's the first X-Men that we haven't seen in a movie before.
Yeah, but if we go by the normal Deadpool rules, it's going to be him, Wolverine, Deadpool, and the two girls.
Could be.
That's it.
Oh my god, I didn't even think of that. No, I think Disney gave him a little bit of a bigger budget. I could be wrong, but I would imagine that
We'll see. We will see.
They know this movie's going to make them money.
I don't know, part of me at that point would be like, no, I'm going to do it with a smaller budget out of spite.
I think, though, the other thing, the one theory I saw that I kind of like, but we'll see if it really pans out. So when you see the back of Wolverine sitting at that, and he's in the white suit, that it's actually Patch, which is an alternate version of Wolverine.
I didn't even think about that. That's
and that it's not going to be, that's not going to be Hugh Jackman. Because they said if you look, that person's actually shorter than Hugh Jackman would be sitting in that seat. And there are two current rumors that it could be.
Wolverine's immortal. I don't think that it's going to be alternate versions of him. I think he's going to just be running through Wolverine's life, going through different times in the X universe.
I think
and keeps going back to Hugh Jackman because who lived through all of it? Hugh Jackman. So he's going to be he's going to be running into him repeatedly, and just that's his ride or die.
You got your fastball special, I think, in the second one.
We didn't get it, I believe.
Yes, we did.
So who's the rumor that it's supposed to be? If it's not Hugh Jackman as Patch, who's supposed to be?
There's two. The guy who played from what's those spy movies? With the guys who wear the suits.
James Bond?
No. It is British. It is a British thing.
I heard it's the kid who plays Harry Potter.
Right. Well, that's Dan Radcliffe, and then Egerton, I think his name is
Joel Edgerton.
Joel Edgerton. They're the two rumors because they both have been rumored to be thing. And actually, there's a rumor that Dan Radcliffe did sign a contract with Disney. But
you know what? That would make sense though. If at the end of the movie, the last time he sees Wolverine, it's a different person, so that somebody else besides Hugh can play the character.
It's actually a good idea. If this is just meant to close out Hugh Jackman again as Wolverine, I'd be okay with it. No, that was X3. Thanks for reminding me.
Yes,
X3 sucked.
But it did get the fastball special in it.
It did, but the movie was trash. Brett Ratner is a horrible human being and an even worse filmmaker somehow. So, the guys who are in the suits in spy movies, very specific. I know that's what we're working with here. The guy, he's in the suit. He's in the spy movie.
What was the name of those movies he was in, though?
The Kingsman.
The Kingsman
movie.
Yeah. Clothes maketh the man. That's what I was thinking of that line. That's why I said the suits.
Those aren't Marvel. I don't
They're
know.
a big part of that movie.
They were.
All right. Let's talk about three other trailers that came out that kind of interested me, and that's the only reason I included them. They kind of all felt out of nowhere to me because I had no idea these movies were coming.
I didn't see some of them coming either.
We'll start with Inside Out 2, which I thought was interesting because Pixar and Disney historically do not make sequels that go into theater other than the Toy Story movies.
Yeah, but there's little bits and pieces about Inside Out, like where they made shorts about her that puberty was coming, and this other bit. My daughter follows Inside Out, like she loves the movie, and she's also scared to death that she's gonna like go through Bing Bong withdrawals one day.
That was my question. Is that like because like I saw the movie when it first came out. My daughter, she was a little older when it came out, and she liked it. But like, I was just kind of wondering, is there an audience that's clamoring for this?
I think so. I think every kid that loved that cried when Bing Bong disappeared is waiting to see what happens to that little girl. My daughter, when she saw that one, she got super excited. She knows that Orange Girl's the anxiety. She knew who it was before they mentioned it. She's been watching
Anxiety. Yeah, that made a lot of sense to me. Anyone who's raised a daughter knows.
And she said there's two more too that are going to appear in it.
Oh, okay.
So I haven't watched it like that closely, it's a great piece of storytelling. It's one of the better things that Pixar's done, in my opinion. But like it's going to be weird watching that board expand and watching all the different things come in, and how she changes into an adult. You're going to like watch, and it's going to be like some metaphor for what we go through in life. She's really excited.
But if it's close to reality, then anxiety should take over the whole place. I mean, we're as you get towards towards adulthood, anxiety is really in charge of everything.
San says a movie that deals with emotional roller coaster of the teenage years. Isn't that the most popular audience?
Populated on is what he means. Yeah, I think it's going to work great. I mean,
the idea of dealing with a more emotionally mature, or someone trying to become more emotionally mature, makes sense too. Like as you go through your teenage years.
Well, here's the thing: is like the audience has grown. The audience for that movie has grown up, and I think James has got a point. I think they want to see what she's like older, and so they can once again identify with the character. I liked Inside Out. I don't have a daughter, but it was a good movie, so we'll check it out again. That's all I got on that.
Cool. All right. And then they made a sequel to a almost 30-year-old movie that I didn't see coming. Twisters?
I know.
Oh my God.
It's a sequel. I mean, from what I've read, it's a sequel, but it sure looks like they tried to cast it as a remake or
right. Like it's a sequel reboot kind of thing, I think.
It doesn't even look like a sequel a little bit. I agree with John. It's got to be some kind of a weird mixture. And my wife loves the first Twister movie. She's got like 10 movies that she watches over and over again. That's one of them. She loves it.
Yeah.
But when I told her about this, and she's like, "Well, who's in it?" I don't fucking know.
Yeah, you're not going to beat Bill Paxton, right?
What's his name? I was like, no. She's like, oh, I don't want to watch that. Like she wasn't even remotely interested in who.
Yeah, that was my late wife's movie. That was one of my late wife's favorite movies too, especially the "Look, a cow" scene.
Yeah, we've got twins, right?
The thing is,
that's
like,
from the originals.
Yeah,
like yes, it's a movie about
that one scene expanded.
It's a movie about tornado chasers, but it's not. You don't really call it an action movie, right? Like, yeah, there's action scenes when they're dealing with the tornadoes, with the twisters, but it's not like this bombastic. And I feel like the sequel, they're trying to make like this over-the-top bombastic, feel like Sharknado type movie, and it's like, why? So,
I would have liked if it had shown some of the heart that was in the first movie in the trailer. All we really got was there's a cowboy douchebag who has drills on his truck, talks a lot of shit, and there's some really good special effects making twin tornadoes.
Yeah, that's all we got. That is all we got from that trailer too. Yeah.
The first movie. Oh, go ahead, James. I'm sorry.
Well, it's just was seeing the heart from the first one where they were talking about the people they lost, opening on that and why it mattered, and then why it mattered to the people who were trying to do the science. They actually had a bunch of stuff where people were motivated to do it instead of just being YouTube celebrities, which is what that jackass was. So either he's like the version of Gary Hughes' character, or I don't know what the hell they're thinking. I don't know what it's going to be, man.
I like Don's comment.
Isn't it fun that every time everything we're looking at here is either a reboot, a remake, or a sequel? There's nothing new.
No, and there isn't going to be anything new until we vote that way with our dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Disney right now is in a ton of trouble because they've lost an insane amount of money. So has Hasbro. Both of their whole media platforms are completely and totally freaking destroyed. Sony is attempting to commit suicide over and over again and failing. And the point of it is that the ones who are trying something new are relying on the ego of the filmmakers and choosing the wrong people for the wrong category.
Yep.
Along with the people who are, hey, you know what? This movie over here made us money. The algorithm tells us that if we make the same exact movie, we can predict the same amount of value from it. Let's do that again.
Yeah.
Storytelling doesn't work that way, you jackasses.
The problem is that there's a diminishing return on that, and they have to know that, right? Like, you can't sit there and say, oh, it worked every time. It hasn't. So I don't know why they keep doing it.
Because it makes their investors believe they have a plan.
Yeah. Gotta make the investors happy.
That's all it is. When you get money up to that level of it, all it's about is the investor's return. It's not about who's making the best money. That's why you when you hear stories about like when United Pictures got created, that was created because he was sick and fucking tired of dealing with all of the studios back then, just trying to screw people over. Disney went bankrupt twice because he was trying to work with other people who were screwing him over. There's an entire history of the reason why a bunch of the really big studios started doing well is because they flipped off the people that were forcing them into those situations and went their own way. But the problem is those people are dead. And the people who are alive are all the investors who are forcing the same thing over and over again because human beings don't learn.
That's the thing, though, is like they should, like, we saw last year the remarkable failure of everything at the box office that wasn't Barbie or Oppenheimer. That was the big story. The problem with this year is everything was too far into production to change gears now. And I think that we're going to see the same exact thing this year. I think you're going to see a bunch of tentpole franchises fail, and then they're going to have to do something else because it's not working, right? And I want to say we're in trouble because there is original stuff that's being done, but it's being done in the streaming platforms. It's not being released at the box office. One of my favorite movies last year was Iron Claw. Like, I love that. That was a different story that you don't see.
Yeah, that was
cool. On a side note, the original Twister featured the final great Van Hagar song. So hopefully they could bring that back.
That'd be nice.
Oh, Humans Being. That's right.
Yeah, Humans Being. Great little jam. Might be the last decent Van Halen song in general, actually.
Last decent one released, I think so. Yeah. Yep. All right, and then the final one that I wanted to talk about, because I am a music nerd and I am a fan of this musical. I've seen it twice. Once with the original Broadway cast, and that is Wicked is finally being made into a movie. So I watched this trailer with cautious optimism. So, okay. So, have any of you ever seen the musicals? I guess is my first question.
My daughter used to sing the songs all the time, but
I got nothing.
No.
I love musicals. I love live performances, but I am poor, so I don't get a lot of chances to go out and see them.
All right.
Not Wicked.
So
I would love to see it. I've heard good things about it.
They play. They're like in the trailer. They're playing like they're doing that old slowed down version of the music through the trailer, and it's Defying Gravity, which is like the song from the play. And I'm like,
was that Idina Menzel or?
If they were respectful to what it started off of, then I am.
Are you talking about the actress, or are you talking about
the singer? Yeah.
The original singer from I don't remember her name.
I think it was Idina Menzel. I don't know. Yeah, Idina Menzel. That's right. It was
okay.
right.
Stephen Schwartz is the one who wrote the musical and the play, which is based on a book.
Can't go wrong with the Schwartz.
Right. So here's the thing, though, that like I started. Obviously, when I saw the trailer, I'm like, oh, I want to learn more about this because I want to see this movie. And what bugged me is, well, they're making it a two-parter, so it's a Hollywood cash grab, and the reason that they're claiming they're doing this is the book that it's based on is much longer than the play, and Stephen Schwartz went back and wrote more music that they're putting in the movies, and it was too long to make one movie out of.
I don't know. I still, as long as they were faithful to the stuff from the original thing, then it'll probably work. It really just matters if they respected what it came from. Like, that's one of the things that's so insane is the people, I need to put my mark on this. This is my version. All that crap that goes on instead of respecting the original source material, it is kind of crazy. Why would you test it by doing all this stuff and have it exist for decades and then ignore that and say, you know what this thing needs? More white people and boobs.
Boobs are nice. So,
Kassan, Dave, does the trailer give off the same vibe as the musical? I can't say that because there's like 3 seconds of them interacting and talking, and the rest of it is just the special effects of like the stuff that's going to be in the movie, which that's fine, but that's like I want to see the interactions between Glendola and I can't think of her name, the Wicked Witch. Like that's the whole play is their relationship is all about. That's what the whole play is about. So it's like show me that in the trailer. So yeah,
They get the right emotions right, and it could still be great. Even if they broke it into two pieces, there's other movies where they did that and it worked. So I'm down as long as they respected the source material. I am down and excited.
Yeah. So, and not till Thanksgiving, so I got a while to wait. But yeah. That doesn't bode well when the trailer blurs the story behind glitz and effects. Yeah, but I also feel like they're trying to grab an audience that has no idea what the musical is. But I think the musical has a huge following, so I think that was a misstep. I think they should have just played Defying Gravity, and I can't think of the actress who's playing Cynthia Avino is playing the Wicked Witch, and just play that playing in the background, and I think you'd grab all the fans of the musical.
Oh, Ariana Grande is playing Glinda.
Yeah, that's the other thing that I'm kind of like, like I know she can sing, but can she really act? We'll see.
She actually has some
really
skills.
Well. Yeah, she's doing really well. Isn't that the woman in the Murder in the Building? The girl?
That's Selena Gomez.
That's Selena Gomez. Yeah. No, Ariana Grande actually has some okay chops.
See, I remember her from Nickelodeon shows, and she played an idiot, and so that's not who I.
In Victorious.
My daughter keeps talking about her, so she can't be all bad.
She isn't.
I never said she was bad. It's just I don't know if she can do this or not. So.
Well, I don't know. I think she can. I think it depends on. It's going to depend on the direction. I don't know. I don't think she's an Oscar winner or anything, but she has some chops. I think she can do it.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny. One of the things I was reading an article, people were upset they didn't bring in the original cast from the Broadway, but I'm like, that was almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, Kristen Chenoweth is getting a little bit old, and Dina Menzel,
right? That wouldn't have made any sense. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, that was my little piece I wanted to add. All right, so 2 other quick pieces of news that came out. First off, this is the most confusing news that ever came out related to comics that I keep seeing people comment on wrongly online. Rob Liefeld officially retired from Marvel, specifically doing Deadpool. But he hasn't retired from comics. But everyone keeps anytime something that's posted about Liefeld comes up about him something he's working on, they're like, I thought he retired. And it's
You're talking about a guy who consistently worked since 1994.
Right.
And even in 1994, every book that he was doing, every book that he was in charge of, everything that Homage got put out, except for the Prophet books, were late every month.
It's Rob Liefeld.
Yeah.
It's like,
what he
dude,
does.
He's quit 3 of the biggest companies in the world, one of which he was partially in charge of. He's pissed off all the best creators on the planet at one time or another. He's a very controversial guy when it comes to working with other people and being reliable. And we're all talking about whether he's retired or not. This is why it quit. I figure out if Hulk Hogan is actually retired or not.
And I think it's also he's made so much money off of the Deadpool movies, he probably doesn't have to work anymore anyway.
I mean, it's not like he's ever been poor.
Well, true.
I know he has a percentage because of the way he worked his contract out a long time ago, and because of him and Todd McFarlane specifically, Marvel doesn't do contracts like that anymore.
Yep.
That's probably some small piece of it, but figuring out whether he's going to be involved in things going forward or how involved he was or the rest, I don't know. There's a limitation to that because when you look at the Deadpool everybody loves right now, that is not how Deadpool acted when he first came out. Everybody's talked about this multiple times.
Yeah.
Deadpool everybody loves. I can't remember the name of the creator.
Joe Kelly.
Thank you. Joe Kelly completely revamped Deadpool, not rebooted, but just kept going and pushed it into the realm that everybody loves so much.
Right.
And Rob Liefeld, he was Spider-Man with guns.
Mm-hmm.
And that was as far as he took it. A lot of the aspects of the character that were more rounded about and stuff like that, they did not come from Rob Liefeld.
No.
So I don't know, man. It's weird. there's a lot of stuff that guy has done that the whole industry should be like, those were smart moves, or those are good moves. But the guy seems to also bring chaos after he's worked on anything for any period of time.
He's a drama queen. Always has been.
I have a feeling, and hey, you can call me crazy conspiracy theory guy.
Yes.
I feel like he I feel like he did this so that in a year or a year and a half, he can announce a special return to Deadpool for a 4-issue mini.
Of course.
And
it's like when Kiss says they're going to retire. It's like, oh, okay, sure. You know,
no, they're saying this is really their final tour right now.
Yeah. Gene Simmons sure wouldn't tell a fib to make a buck.
I forgot. That's one of the things I didn't talk about. I went and saw Mr. Big last week.
Yeah, on purpose.
I like Mr. Big.
Somebody force you? I got forced. The first band I ever went to see was Mr. Big, and I was furious.
They were so good. I don't know. I thought they were really good.
Not about their talent. Their songs are just
well, you know, I think Mike Gilbert's one of the best guitarists ever. And he's one of the most underrated guitarists in rock. But
Van Halen is one of the greatest guitarists ever, and I cannot stand Van Halen music.
Don't make me boot you. Don't make me boot you from this podcast. No. In fact, wait a minute.
Am I going to get punched?
What are you doing? We don't do that here.
Wow.
We respect the god of rock on this podcast.
So Elvis?
I respect their skills. It doesn't mean I want to listen to music about drugs. And
that's why you listen to Van Hagar. It's all about love.
Van Hagar was all about Sammy Hagar's love.
Elevator.
But they're saying that that's their final tour too, and I don't know if I buy that. So, yeah.
But yeah, it's a good point. Rob Liefeld is also one of those guys that thrives on controversy. Mm-hmm. It's a skill some people have. They disrupt and bring things up and new and whatever like that. Some people are really good at it. I think he falls in that category.
The god of rock is Geddy Lee. Now, I agree with that. Geddy Lee rules. Rush is the shit. So, Rob Liefeld, he's like you said, he's a disturber. He's always upset the status quo, you know, from the Lee 501 Jeans commercial in the early 90s. Like Van Halen, Mr. Big, and Politics are now on the ban list. I'm okay with Mr. Big being on the no list.
You know what? Screw all of you.
Like, no, Rob Liefeld just likes to cause shit. Like, he's a constant shit disturber. He's a lot of trouble, but he's a shameless self-promoter, and he's good at it. Like, whatever, man. It's Rob Liefeld.
Yeah, I'm not knocking those skills. You know,
no,
like, the guy obviously has a better career in comics than I do. You can't really say all that shit about it. He's done some amazing stuff. It's just that, dude, when you're talking about him retiring, it's like for 6 months, for a year, for 3 months, and then he'll, you know, all of a sudden he'll reappear. Like Sam Keith takes sabbaticals, and then you hear he's got like some gigantic, huge art book that has to come out. Sam
Keith's really good, though. It's the difference.
I was going to say the difference between you and Liefeld, James, is you can draw feet.
Most of the time. I have trouble with horse feet. I really do.
I believe that. Horses have weird-looking feet.
Yeah, horses are hard. Horses are hard.
All right, and I think the big news we got this week, guys, is we got the cast for the Marvel Fantastic Four movie coming out in 2025. And, of course, that's Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Ebon Moss, how do you say his name, Banrach?
I think it's
David.
Yeah, Bachrach as Ben Grimm, and Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm. So
I love this cast. Finally, a Kirby's going to make money in the Fantastic Four.
No relation. No relation to the actual Jack Kirby, which is a shame.
No, when the cat, because all these guys have been rumored to be cast for months now. Honest to God, I think this is fantastic. I'm pardon the pun. I like it. Joseph Quinn was like my, because Kassan with his negative energy again. Still not.
I don't know. I kind of agree with Kassan where I'm not
Really?
highly sold about Pedro. It's a lot of the stuff
I
that I
guess-
see in Mandalorian because I love the Mandalorian, but he's not the guy walking around with the helmet on. There's like 4 people, and one of the
Yeah.
guys who's doing it is John Wayne's grandson or whatever. He's the one that most of us see with the helmet on. So the scenes without it, when he doesn't have it and stuff like that, yeah, he's doing just fine. But here's the thing. I don't know what I expect out of Reed Richards anymore.
It's true.
And I don't know what take Pedro's going to have. I'm kind of open to whatever they're going to try, but I think the most important thing, like what Kassan's talking about here, I think it's going to be a lot more important about who their villain is and how their family dynamic relates to it as a whole. Those things may all be great. All those actors may be all great, but if they can't perform a group chemistry and get the group chemistry dynamic dialed in, as well as be against something, we'll all watch it. It'll have scrolls or something like that, and then every word out of every nerd's mouth is going to be, "Where's Doom?" Whatever, because we don't know who is it going to be. Doom Central? Is it going to be based on him?
It's going to be fan.
Well, the rumor, yeah, Kassan's right. The current rumor is that Doom is only going to be introduced in the after credit scene, so it'll be something else.
I think that's a move. I think that's a good move. I think that Doom is such an oxygen taker that I think you need to really establish what the Fantastic Four is. And I'll tell you why I like this, is I like the way they chose to reveal this cast, right?
Okay.
I like the piece of art they created because it has very much a 60s pop art vibe to it. I like the font they used. I like some of the design choices they used because I've been saying for a long time that the Fantastic Four is something very much of its era, right? And I'd like to see a film try to capture that. Now I don't know how they're going to do that yet, but the vibe of at least the first piece of promotional art that we've seen seems to address that. So I'm intrigued already. I love Joseph Quinn in Stranger Things. I told my kid who's that? I said, "Oh, that's Eddie Munson." Remember this because I've shown him the scene with the Master of Puppets scene, and he's like, "Oh my god, that's awesome!" It's phenomenal. It's one of the greatest, one of the greatest single scenes of a television show ever. So that guy really captured people's attention, and I could totally see him pulling off Johnny Storm. Like, I like Vanessa Kirby. She's got this aloofness in the Mission Impossible films that I think will go well for Sue Storm. So I don't know. The guy playing the Thing, I don't know much about him. I know he's on The Bear. I've never watched that show. So like again, I'm on board. I like Pedro Pascal as an actor. I loved him in Game of Thrones. I've never watched The Last of Us, but I heard good things. He did a great job with a shitty character in Wonder Woman 84. Like he's a character actor. And like you said, what's Reed gonna be? I don't know. Like what's cool is what Tony Stark is. We all think of as Tony Stark is what Robert Downey Jr. brought to the character.
Yeah.
Right.
So I would like to see him put his own spin on what that means. And I don't know what that means quite yet, but I'm at least curious. And I think we're not getting a young guy, we're getting a veteran actor. So we're going to go head on to the potentially problematic relationship with Stu and Reed, of like the large age difference between them, which is just part of who the character is. So like, I'm curious to see where this all goes. I'm cautiously optimistic.
I was going to say,
and the reason why we may not get Doom in this movie is because I think they it's possible they might introduce him earlier to start taking over from Kang.
That's not going to happen.
I don't know.
Not going to happen.
No,
they're going to recast Kang.
Yeah, that's a fan dream. I think there are too many things, too many irons in the fire already for them to.
There's too many oars in the fire and irons in the water for them to change path now.
Yeah,
and if it is a period piece, then it gives them a lot more openness to be able to work.
It does.
It changes the story. Writing stories without cell phones is so much easier.
It really is. Yeah, especially with the Fantastic Four.
I think you're right too with the age difference thing because they didn't touch that on any of the other Fantastic Four movies. Like they did in the Roger Corman one a little bit,
kind of,
but in the ones from the early 2000s, there wasn't a big age difference between them, and not at all in the Fan Force stick.
Here's a question for you guys: but is it going to be as good as The Incredibles?
I don't know.
See that's the acid test, though, isn't it?
I think I mean, James,
let's be honest, what The Incredibles was.
You're
The Incredibles was them doing Fantastic Four without having the rights.
Right.
Absolutely.
You're 100% right, and you're 100% right with it's all about the relationships, the chemistry between the four actors. Like if it's not there, you're going to see it right away, and it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
So,
but it can if they get that chemistry right.
Yeah.
Then I think that those actors, if they can work on that part, because that's the only thing that those four can control. And if they have that good enough editing to be able to catch it, because most of what we see that's chemistry is actually good editing. Because I've been on film shoots where people are working. Four actors do not hit it at the exact same time. One guy hits it, the other three are talking like robots. It's always like that. And it comes down to the editor getting all of that correct. But right now, in Disney, the stuff falling apart the most is stuff.
Uh-oh. John?
Yes?
Did we lose James?
We lost JD and James.
Oh, okay then.
Technical difficulties have his point was so salient it took down the connection.
Okay, well, it's real quick because Hassan said, speaking of sequels, The Incredibles needs one. They did make a second Incredibles movie.
Yeah, and it was actually pretty good too.
So, hold on, let me see if I can message James on Facebook to see if he realizes that he's.
So,
and I don't know where JD went.
We need content filler. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, ragtime gal. We need a dancing frog. Great. Let me tell you all how utterly horrible Madam Web was.
Oh, wait. James is back. Okay, hold on.
But I want to tell them how bad Madam Web was.
Wait, we had more Madam Web jokes. I missed it.
Well,
I was on a rant.
We had to fill with something while you were off.
Son of a bitch. All right. I should be back. I'm not.
Richardson says he wants to play Batman. Okay, Kassan. I mean, really?
Hold on. I'm messaging JD to see what happened to him.
Maybe he and I are having the same storm.
Oh, was it a storm?
I'm in the middle of a storm.
No, he's in Chicago area, so I don't think they're having a storm right now. He looked like he touched something on his computer and then just disappeared.
He's like, "Fuck this, I'm out." Talk to me about Fantastic Four, you sons of bitch.
Okay,
well,
so
given the track record.
Third one.
Alan Richardson says he wants to play Batman.
Who the hell is Alan Richardson?
I don't know. That's a good question. Do you know who he is, John?
No, I've seen him. Oh, the guy from he's from Reacher.
Oh, okay.
If he played Batman though, like
the big
it would be the biggest Batman we've ever seen.
He'd be a Bruce Timm Batman. He'd look like a linebacker.
That's true. No, you're right.
And
you're right.
He also played Hawk. I'd be down
Hawk
for that.
From Hawk and Dove. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be perfectly okay with him being Batman. And then you give him like a 14-year-old stick of a kid as Robin. All of a sudden we're watching everything from before. I'm okay with that.
Although, I mean, okay, as good as he's okay as Reacher, but I don't feel like Alan has, for I was gonna say a dynamic range in his acting, but then,
oh my God, he was
Aquaman.
Are you?
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
I think JD's joining us via his phone. He lost power at home, so he could.
That's what I did.
This is through the browser, so you could technically use your phone, but you wouldn't have lights or anything.
This is why I have battery backup on everything. If I lost power, you'd still see me.
Yes. All right. Well, I can't even remember what we were talking about. I'm so confused.
Well,
I was ranting about something.
Yeah, it's time to get going. We got.
Yes.
It's time to talk to James about his stuff.
JD, you normally look like ass, so that's fine.
Hey, be nice to him. He'll kill you in his next book, man.
That's what friends are for. I was going to mention one thing real quick. It's funny, like how rumors start. How rumors start flying when things like this come out, and there's been rumors for a long time that Henry Cavill has talked to people at Marvel. So now the current rumor is Henry Cavill's in the running to play Doctor Doom. What do we think of that?
He could do it.
Anybody with acting chops that can do the whole "I'm fucked in the head" can be Doom. It's just you have to let whoever's playing him be fucked in the head. Like it has to be somebody who can change their visage. There has somebody who's been a good guy and been a bad guy. They have to be able to play that off. It's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of a thing, because he's going to be at first he's going to have to be their friend, right? And then it's going to turn into, no, I'm literally the worst supervillain ever.
Well, also Dr. Doom, he walks that edge because he cares about his people, but he also wants to take over the world, and he's got a really good reason for it. He's not one of those, evil, I'm evil because of evil. It's like, I'm evil because I don't think any of the rest of you can deal with all the shit that's coming towards Earth, and I should be in charge to make sure that I can take care of it.
Though, that basically means he's like the mirror position of Tony Stark.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, he is. He's just willing to go a little bit farther than Tony Stark. Well, actually, he does what Tony Stark does by accident. Like, he does on purpose what Tony Stark does by accident.
Yeah, most of it was kind of threats from Tony, but it really, with Doom, it's not that at all. Like, he enjoys making androids to do his stuff. Like all that.
Yeah.
True. But he still supposedly cares about his people and his country, but he still he also has a good reason for wanting to do what he does, technically speaking.
Yeah.
Like he's got a reason. It isn't just I'm evil for evil's sake.
Right. All right. Well, you're right. I think that's enough. We should take a quick commercial break.
Yeah, it's time to talk to our guest.
And talk a little Damaged Ink.
Yes, because I've been so quiet all day.
This is so wizard, Annie.
Broadcasting very fast and very dangerous from the planet Malistan. You are listening to So Wizard.
You're thinking people gonna die?
The only podcast to make the Kessel run in under 12 parsecs.
There'll be no one to stop us this time.
I am your host, Joey DiCarlo, and with me, my co-hosts, the queen of all nerds, Aubrey Litchfield, and the expert, Mr. Marquis, Marcellus Ray. You are listening to So Wizard Podcast, where three friends review movies, TV, and sometimes more, podcasting weekly on the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. Marcellus Reagans, please tell the listeners where they can find more So Wizard Podcasts.
Everybody, you can head on over to SoWizardPodcast.com, and there you're going to find a brand new episode every week. Find So Wizard on all podcasting streaming platforms, such as iTunes, Spotify, Good Pods, and pretty much wherever you can find a podcast. Check out our YouTube page, where new content is being uploaded regularly. We also have a Patreon page. For as little as $1 a month, you can receive exclusive bonus content while you're supporting the show.
No, I didn't. First of all, a podcast takes a lot of work, okay? You have to organize the guests, you have to do a Google Calendar, and then you build a following. It takes a long time, and I've been working on it for a while.
Oh, hell.
All right. One more bit of news if you want to talk about it. No, come on, Kassan. We've been running long. We got 10 minutes left.
Are you talking about Moana 2?
Silk Spider Society is reportedly going through a creative overhaul. I don't know what that is.
It's going to be Silk. I'm not even.
Maybe next week we'll talk about that. I don't know. All right. So,
to see what
James.
that's about.
Damage Inc. A War of the Broken Daughters Love Keep. So, for those who are not familiar with you and familiar with your work, can you give us the elevator pitch for those books?
The elevator pitch. Damage Inc. is a story. It started off as a found family story where these friends formed a club to hunt down supernatural creatures and superpowered metahumans for bounties they get from the state. Well, they've never been very good at it, so every single time they go out, it turns into explosions, Plan C, and a lot of smack talk. Because the characters talk like my friends did. You screw up in front of your friends, they are going to be meaner to you than anybody else in your life.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I carry over a lot of banter from those friends' interactions. But also, we're also taking the found family thing a little bit farther. Some of the characters in this one, as we go on into the story, are going to start having to deal with the trauma that made them who they are. Right now, the story is going to be centered around, because we're into the story now. The first volume of this, there's 4 issues. We're now in the second issue of the second volume. And we've got a new villain. Her name is the Goblin Queen, which is actually based on one of my fans who won a contest. She won a contest. I created a villain based on her a little bit, and now I'm using that villain in the comic. That character is the Goblin Queen has gotten into Sarah's head, and as Sarah is choosing to help her, and we're right in the beginning of the story where a bunch of that's going to come out, and it's going to turn into 4 issues of a battle back and forth as the characters kind of come to understandings about one of the main characters is actually going to try to kill an entire town for the Goblin Queen. It's going to get that kind of crazy, and it's all going to be related back to the trauma that person suffered in that town. Now, the reason why I got into all of that, and a lot more than just, the friends being the friends, is a lot of fans from the other Kickstarters, they told me, we want longer stories. We want character progression. I pulled them. Mm-hmm. And I brought on a writer by the name of Jeff Aragon. He did one of the short stories in the last issue. He knows me, he knows these characters, and he's really done a good job of finding little bits and pieces about that trauma to explore. And that's exactly what's going to be happening. There is going to be a lot of emotion. Sarah, the character that's based on my sister, it was basically traumatized in that town. She was turned into a victim. And that character is going to go hog wild and start messing the place up. And this is the beginning part of that story where all that stuff begins to seep in. I'm pretty excited about it. It's the first time that I've done a multi-issue story out that far. And we're going to see what happens with Jeff's writing and my creepy-ass artwork. So we'll see where it goes.
Can I just say that I am disappointed that the marked by the club tier 2 is already gone and I cannot pay to get killed.
I'll try to work something out for you, John.
Oh my God. How many times do you want to die in a comic book?
My only response to that is, here, take my money.
For the first time we did that, it ended up being really funny and going out really well. I sat down to try to make it like a 2 or 3 frame thing, and it turned into 4 pages of you guys arguing on your way to your seats, of you guys telling John to shut the hell up, and then
that's the best part.
Glad to help.
The goblin wasn't even screwing with you guys, and then John got up and started throwing popcorn at him. It's actually really funny. I had a lot of fun doing it, and I'm working on a 4-page sequence for the other people who have already gotten the mark by the club. Mm-hmm. So I will see what I can do. If we get into it a little bit farther, it's going to turn into more pages, and more pages is going to be a bigger printing. So we'll figure something out.
How much? I'll talk to you about it after this.
Yeah, John, you and I can talk about it. I want to make sure you're happy with the pages and everything else first before we go further.
I know it's all good, but you have your Kickstarter. I mean, you have quite a few different pledge tiers on here, and what is it? Original art sketch, member patch. Your Kickstarters are getting even better.
Hi, thank you. I actually, dude, when I was doing the original art for this one, what I've been doing is having goblins in the drawing saying thank you to people. I had to draw a goblin pole dancing on a stop sign.
Oh, Jesus. But on purpose, or did somebody force you?
Well,
that's awesome.
You do what you do to get people to back your book, man.
Yeah.
And if that means a goblin's got a pole dance, then the goblin's got a pole dance.
I mean, I think you're really close to the hentai membership of a lot of animes.
Look, another creator friend of mine, I just did a project with. I'm really proud with how it came out. He runs a hentai anthology, and he just had a huge Kickstarter, and I haven't even read it or whatnot. It's not my thing, but he's a great writer. Like the script I worked with that he did, it was the best script I've ever had given to me ever. It was the smoothest, most professional one. And then I find out after I'm done with that project, I turn around and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got this Kickstarter going." I look at it; it's a freaking hentai book.
I forgot to put all the links in the description. I just put the link in the comments, and I'll update the description after this so people can
appreciate that.
find it. So we were talking a little before. You said you got a little delayed with the launch of this because it was supposed to originally launch earlier.
Well, I had prepped a lot of stuff before the new year, a lot, and I had a lot of artwork done, all kinds of stuff. And unfortunately, when I went up to Seattle, somebody broke into our car. They stole my computer. I had my stuff with me because I was trying to, just do little. When you work like I do, I work mostly on a Surface at the time. And I remember talking to you guys, I think it was right after it happened or right before. And unfortunately, a lot of the stuff I did that was going to be for this Kickstarter was on that computer. So I had to remake a bunch of stuff. And then after I remade a bunch of stuff, well, it got better. So it's not entirely bad. But I had brain freeze putting the page together. I did it 7 different times. I even have checklists and stuff from classes I've taken about how to make sure I compose it. But every time I did it, I would find some little thing and start over. I made my video 7 or 8 times and edited it and did all the rest of this and then threw it all away and just made a 2-minute thing of me talking to the camera. There was a lot of indecision paralysis, even though I don't talk like I do that way. When I'm putting something out there that I really hope everybody enjoys, I tend to second guess myself because I really want people to see me leveling up as I do things. It's been important to me since I was a kid. There have been times when I have come really close to pulling something off and then just missed it by a hair. So there's always that little invasive thought that's in the back of your head. And sometimes it derails you. And honestly, between those two things, I got behind. I had to start a week late.
I totally understand, though. It's funny because I said I wrote the song for my girlfriend. Originally, the original idea was to do it for her birthday's March 1st, so it's in a week, or 2 weeks. But I pushed myself and I got it done for Valentine's Day because I thought it was more of a romantic gift anyway. But I had it done and I was getting everything ready, and I was just I got so scared to show it to her, And I know that, so I know how that feeling is, especially when it comes to art. And it's sometimes you just get are people going to like this? And or am I doing the right thing? Am I making the right decisions? Am I making the right creative decisions? Yeah. I totally get it. So
see, what's odd about me though, is I don't get afraid of showing the art. The art, I'm that part I'm comfortable with. It's all the stuff to make people look at it and say this. For example, I had trouble lettering the first book a lot. and I didn't really quite understand the spatial rules and whatnot. I've since fixed that and gone back and done it. And there are little technical things like that I want to make sure are fixed, because as soon as I get feedback from a pre-reader or other professionals in the industry, I try to build on it as fast as possible. There's an obsession of mine to make sure that I'm considered as professional as I can by my peers, and in this case, that's where I was getting tied up in. I've been comfortable with the art part for a long time, and in all honesty, that's where my ego lays. Like I love showing off that stuff. It's every little thing that makes it look like somebody could have done better. That's the part where I like take a hit whenever I'm doing it.
Okay, so like I completely understand that mental point of view, because I'm OCD and ADD. I'm pretty damn neurodivergent in certain ways. But yeah, it's really fun. And I do this in my own work where like I will be late for stuff because I'm too busy writing documentation and rewriting it and getting it just right, so I feel like I'm putting my best foot forward. I hate being rushed in things. So I completely get that. So do you have that feeling? Do you hit that, not wall, but that issue when you're writing the stories? Do you get an idea for a story, but then like you revamp it a couple of times? Or
here, I'll give you an example. First of all, you should revamp your stories a couple times.
Well, yeah, I mean, but
first one, no matter how good it is, no. But the Book of Nod, okay? My Ballad of Nod stories have been something I've been working on for years. Everybody who knows me has seen examples of it, and they're excited to see it come out. I got together and did an ash can as a reward for this Kickstarter. There are 17 versions of the first issue.
Yeah.
Because it matters to me so much. I wasn't 100% sure where I wanted to go with it. Am I being too serious? Am I not being serious enough? Did I do enough world building? All of those things will play out inside of your head and slow you down in a lot of negative ways. The important part is, as I tell it when I'm in high school classes and teaching or any of those versions of it, the most important thing about any project is to get it done. And when you find yourself stuck on that repeat, like a broken album or a skipping CD or whatever version of it you want to think of, when your mind is doing that, that's telling you you need to take a second to step back, because getting this done is more important. Because all of us will chase perfection, but perfection is not obtainable.
Yeah.
And the very first time you're an artist and you finish something, and when I say artist, I mean creator. It doesn't really matter whether it's a play, a puppet, or whatever. The very first time you do it and you're happy with it and you show it to somebody and somebody tells you phoned that in, especially when it happens when you're young, it's going to create that thing in the back of your head. That's where that voice starts.
Yeah.
And it's also a part of your own growth, though. If you're going to take it seriously, you're eventually going to get told by somebody that something you did is not as good as it could be.
Yeah.
The trick
no matter what you do.
Right, but the trick is just to understand, okay, that's where that one is. And my next one, I'm going to build off of that. And my next one.
Yeah.
And that's the part. But when it comes to certain types of projects, like at work, you don't have a next one. You're going to turn this fucking thing in. And if you look like crap, you're the one that's going to have to explain that to your boss. Or if you do a Kickstarter page and you screw up, which I did, by the way, I put all my art behind the milestones and behind the underneath the stretch goals and stuff. I just fixed it. But when you do a mistake like that and you're going to have repercussions, sometimes you're too scared to even finish it. I have been at work where I had to give a spreadsheet or something where I was analyzing inventory or dollars. We're talking a lot of money. I work with warehouses where there's like $50-60 million in the warehouse. And if you screw it up, you could accidentally say you've lost $20 million. You can't turn something in when you missed a decimal. When you're like that. I have worked until 4 a.m. because I thought that I screwed something up and had to double check lines and lines of code in Excel sheets before. That anxiety is always going to be there if you give a damn. It's a sign of a good thing about you, but just like most things, you can take it too far.
John, imagine if you gave a damn about this podcast.
Actually, you speak about losing money. I lost, I think, $13 million once for a few e-commerce sites when I had a dollar sign in the wrong place in one of my pieces of code. So
Yeah.
I've been there and done that. But does it isn't it more important that you feel like you've done your best and not listen to people who say, I don't think this is the best you can do? Or
Absolutely, it is. But if you are going to try to make a product instead of a project, you have to consider other people's ability to judge their values and to be able to judge whether they are the people that you're trying to sell to or not.
unless you're Rob Liefeld, then.
Well, yeah, that guy's mad. I for example, I had a reviewer once. He loved Inheritance. He loved it. Talked about it nonstop. Was thrilled with it. Oh, thank you, Kasan. You rock. He loved Inheritance, and when I sent him a damage book, he was like, "This is the most immature thing I've ever seen." And he started complaining that I had mom jokes and stuff in it. And I was like, I don't think he understands
Yeah.
the difference between the two books. And it's not his fault because he just has his perception. What it really was for me is that he wasn't the person I was trying to impress. Why did I send Damage, which is a campy adventure comedy horror, to a very serious horror guy?
Right.
That looks at things from that lens. And I realized that was something I can control. And a lot of these things, OCD, the invasive voice, anger, look, there's a lot of it. It's actually not about what we think it's about and our emotions are in that moment. It's actually about control. There's some point in your past where you didn't have control over something, and it's now all muddled up with all these other things. And the need to make sure it's perfect isn't a need to actually make sure it's perfect. It's a need to have control over what everybody's going to react to because you're scared of something that happened before.
Yeah.
And in my case, that was the crazy ass way that I grew up. I'm always afraid I'm going to do something and it's going to look all right. And then the other foot's going to drop and I'm going to get my art stolen in a van or whatever version of it. Right. And your brain just doesn't think that clearly when it's pumping out emotions. Right. So that whole second guessing yourself, when you're being logical and you're asking yourself questions, okay, I totally need to get this done and I need to get my Kickstarter out and I'm proposing to have it done on the 1st of March. But at the same time, I can see technical issues wrong and things that are missing from the Kickstarter that I need to have so the Kickstarter will be successful. So I started freaking out about it. Like and when I started freaking out about it, I really take getting stuff done on time seriously. But a friend of mine's like, James, seriously is really good. On time is really good. But you're the person who chose March 1st. And I understand that you want to hit that day, but are you going to put out something on March 7th that's better? And my honest question was, when I asked myself that, was yes.
Yeah.
And I just did not have all of the Kickstarter shaped, Kickstarter profile images, all that stuff. I had plenty of images. Nothing was cut down to the right size. Nothing was branded right.
Right.
And I was just in progress. I needed to let myself be late to give the people the respect of having a better product. And in this particular case, I was able to quiet down me being upset about missing that date because I believe I gave a much better Kickstarter presentation. Except for maybe the video. It's me babbling for 2 minutes.
No, your video is fine. It's funny though, because I'm also looking at this from a different side of it. When I was in a band in high school and college, we would like start writing songs and we'd have ideas that like floated around, but we never really finished them until like I would sit there and like, okay, you know what? I'm going to book the recording studio for this date. And it might be 2 months out, which meant we had to finish writing the songs before we went into the studio and made fools of ourselves. Because, especially back then, because it was the only way you could record it. And it wasn't cheap to rent a studio. So sometimes giving yourself a deadline.
Oh, it's a must. I don't have a deadline.
Yeah.
It's not getting done.
Yeah.
It's not. I will tweak with it and screw with it and overwork it into oblivion.
Yeah.
This year, I just put that book out. I just put a book out back in November, and I already have the next Damage book is already done, except for I'm going to add a couple of pages into it to expand on it. Jeff has got the next 3 kind of in a rough outline, and he's trying to clean it up because he put a lot of stuff into it, and so and you always want to start that way, and then you started chipping away about what you want to focus on. So he's cleaning that part up, but he has time because I'm multiple issues ahead. With Nod, I've got 2 issues penciled, 1 issue completely inked, colored, and lettered, and I haven't even chosen a date for those yet. But this year, I'm going to try to make sure that all of the Damage books are done before the year is over. That means I'm going to be putting out 4 books, 1 a quarter. And then as soon as those are done, Nod's going to be right in the corner. So I've dedicated myself to trying to make sure that those are happening in that way to give myself that motivation.
Right.
And you're right, dude. It's putting a date. Here's where we're going to be here. We need to be done and ready. That is the professional way to do it.
Yeah.
It's just that if you're going to put out something inferior, sometimes you have to bite the bullet and admit, I didn't make it. I just need more time to give you the
Yeah, I agree.
That all said, what's your favorite part of this, of what you're putting out now? Like, is there a part that like you're really proud of, or something that really like, worked well for whatever reason?
The part that I am the most proud of, besides spinning an axe with blood moving into your forehead, because I did enjoy that. I enjoyed it too, yes. I really got the blood to move in a way that I dug. So, usually when people ask me that, I think about a piece of art because I'm very art centered. There's a comic book box next to me that's filled with nothing but like mid-90s image stuff. That's my favorite period. It's all visual, right?
Yeah.
But in this one, I started off with a story with Jeff, and it was a short that we entered for a webtoon contest. And when I took it down after it was finished, I reformatted it to be in paper form, and then said to myself, "There's more here. There's something more here I can do. I want to do it." And I started to brainstorm about using the trauma from my past, trauma from Kira's past, my sister, and asked myself if I was mature enough to get into a story that had that kind of gravity. And my answer for myself was yes. I talked to her about it. She was comfortable with it. And I talked to Jeff. And what was really funny is that what gave me the spark of the idea is there were little hints inside of Jeff's original script that he had mentioned some of those things. And part of it's because he and I have been friends since I was 19, and he's known me for a really long time. So he knows about a lot of it. And he started to embrace that inside of the characters. And so we have pages where there are moments where the characters are kind of going at it with each other. One of them doesn't even know he's in an argument with somebody, and the other one is literally talking about all this trauma, and it's flying over the other guy's head. And when you read it, it sounds exactly like discussions that I have had, because it flew over my head, with my sister as she was trying to tell me there was something wrong. But she didn't want to tell me there was something wrong, because if she had told me then, I probably would have killed somebody. And she chose not to do it because she didn't want to cause trouble in my life. And that's a paradigm that Jeff managed to catch. inside of that I was able to tweak the dialogue a little bit and enhance. And I'm really happy with the fact that it makes sense, that the characters get to progress and you get to see where it's coming from, and that it's hinted in there.
Right.
So this is only the first part of the four issues. So you're going to kind of like learn, okay, something is going on, and then it's going to start expanding later. And I'm really happy with how we chose to go about it, how it's being built towards it. I have never thought of myself as a writer's writer. I've always thought of myself as an artist. Yeah, I've done stories. I've done little ones, always smaller one-shots. And I like doing stories that you can just pick up. But I've always had a little bit of hesitancy about tackling better and more challenging stories.
Yeah.
Why was the X-Men so good in the 80s? Well, because there was a lot of challenging stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, the art was flashy. That didn't happen until Jim Lee and Rostasio and all that other stuff happened later. It was always about how badass the writing was in the beginning.
I mean, it's funny because it was a book originally created to reflect the civil rights movement, but yet, it became more action, I think, in the 70s, and then like got more complicated, in the 80s and 90s. So,
when you think about the Teen Titans,
the original one, the writing on that was amazing.
Oh my goodness!
Exactly.
I mean, to the point where they even in Teen Titans Go, they make fun of the fact that it got ended so badly.
Oh my god!
But that stuff was something I was always afraid to tackle, and this time we're tackling it, and I'm growing as a creator as a result of it, and I'm really proud of that. And it's also making it so that the subject matter in the Ballad of Nod, the grief and the other stuff in the next story, I'm tackling that one, and I've gotten way more serious about it. It originally was just that bedtime story, but there's going to be a lot more confronting emotion in it that I was afraid to show before.
Well, there you go. That actually sounds, because you've talked about the books, about them being therapeutic. So I think that's probably, a good step, right? So
I think so too. There are just some things that there's some emotions that people put down on paper because they're shock jocks, and they're just trying to get a reaction. Like when you see that mother get eaten in the beginning of Attack on Titan, as an example. Oh, yeah. That doesn't exactly hold a lot. It's just to provoke a sensory emission. It's trying to just grab somebody real quick. I wanted it to mean something, and that's exactly what Jeff and I are doing with this story. And I feel like it's being pulled off. And my pre-readers have also said the same thing, that they can see it, they can feel it, and that they really want to see where it's coming. The best thing you can get from a pre-reader is when they say, "I cannot wait to get the next one."
Yeah, agreed. Like, that's the whole thing. If they're excited to keep going, you're onto something. So cool. All right. So the Kickstarter at this moment has 17 days to go. Let me see. You're
getting there.
You're getting there. You'll get there.
Yep, we got 39 backers right at the moment. We're one away from me releasing another book into our digital library, and there's roughly about $700 left to go. I'm not afraid of that number. I'm pretty excited for where it is.
Awesome. All right. Well, yes, we ran a little long tonight. We lost JD. I mean, of course, you can come back anytime you want, James. But yeah, I mean, definitely, I think anyone watching should back the project. All right, so let's bring this one in for a landing, as we normally do. We'll go around the room, and you can tell me either A, do you have a recommendation, or B, what did you learn on the podcast this week? And of course, James, you can go first.
What did I learn on the podcast this week? I learned that Helen Keller was not in the closet.
Oh, God. I mean, yeah.
Oh my god.
Those advertisements are instructive as well. I mean, oh my god.
Oh my god. Okay. That's good. I like that. I can't argue. All right. And of course, you recommend people to go to your Kickstarter and back it, right?
I recommend everybody to go to Damage Inc. to go ahead and back it. I want as many people to see it as possible. I want them to enjoy it, and I can't wait to hear more feedback. I can't recommend that enough right now.
Cool. All right, John.
2 recommendations. One is Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1. Again, don't rent it or buy it. The stream. Who knows with all the things that are going on with Warner, if it'll stay wherever you bought it. Just get the DVD and get a good, Blu-ray player. But pick that up. If you can see it for free, fine. But definitely. My other recommendation is don't go see Madden Web. Save the brain cells, if you're thinking you'll take your wife to it, save your marriage. Don't go to this. Anyway, and also contribute to the Kickstarter because Damage Inc. is really cool.
All right.
You get to see John die a horrible death.
Okay. So I learned that more and more people are jumping on this train and love killing John. Like,
damn straight, I'm starting a trend.
And I love Kassan's comment about eventually you're going to have to come out with your own comic that explains why your character just won't die or stay dead. I'm sorry, that's really what it is. He won't stay dead.
Grady multiverse. Hey,
I also learned that Madam Web apparently is a horrible movie, and I'm glad I forgot it was out.
That you didn't forget. It was your brain protecting you.
Oh, okay.
There's some memories that you're just not supposed to have.
It was a beneficial Mandela effect. That's what.
I also recommend that people go and support. Support James's Kickstarter for Damage 1 and 2. I'm having an issue logging into Kickstarter at the moment, so I will take care of that after this so I can put my pledge in. Yes, and of course, as always, I recommend you go to superheroespeak.com where you can find the podcast every week. Links to all our social media at the top of the page. One thing I forgot to say, if you have gotten this far and you haven't done so yet, please click that subscribe button, click that bell for notifications so you don't miss us when we go live Sunday nights at 8:30. And yes, and I think that's it. On that note, boys and girls, as always, thanks for watching, and don't let your cape get caught in the door. Have a good week.
Yes, everyone.